Part 165. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 1642. What Zhang Chen thought was impossible, Tan Shahan quickly accomplished it for him. The name of the park was Sky City E-Commerce Industrial Park. The project was quickly approved, and Zhang Chen signed an investment agreement with the Yuhang district government. Su Wenhui's junior sisters immediately made reports in Hangcheng Daily, Metropolitan Express and Qianzhong Evening News, calling the Sky City E-Commerce Industrial Park the largest e-commerce in Hangzhou Park, but in terms of scale, it is indeed. Because of the media reports, the Yuhang district government felt proud and urged Zhang Chen to seize the time and hold a groundbreaking ceremony for the Sky City E-Commerce Industrial Park, which attracted another wave of media reports. This project was also added to the district government's key projects in 2011. Just after the groundbreaking ceremony of the park, many companies came to the park and asked to enter the park. These companies all opened stores on Doubao to sell products, ranging from clothing, shoes, hats, stationery, cosmetics, food, photography equipment to auto parts, etc. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan said, "Isn't this just a small commodity market around the north? What high-tech products are there? You care so much." Tan Shahan rolled her eyes at him. "I don't know what is being sold now. As long as it is labeled as e-commerce, it will become high-end. Have you achieved your own goal? It doesn't matter if you have achieved your goal. Good job, build your own factory, and for the rest, just build a house and let them work around it." It's a pity that Zhang Chen is not a casual person. He strives for perfection in everything he does. After he really wanted to start building this e-commerce park, he began to seriously consider it. He asked Li Wei to be the director of the investment promotion office of the park. Although there were no drawings yet, he asked Li Wei to register companies in need. Unexpectedly, more than a week later, more than 700 companies came to register. This startled Zhang Chen, and he realized that there were quite a lot of people doing e-commerce in Hangzhou. However, they were originally scattered in various residential areas and rented other people's houses. They had a 3-in-1 office, business, and accommodation. For this reason, the residents of the community had great opinions. They moved goods up and down and regarded the passenger elevator as a freight elevator. The number of people coming in and out is still very complicated. Some houses have more than a dozen people in them. The fire department also believes that these Dabao.com merchants are scattered in the community, which poses safety risks. The property management company has no way to deal with such residents. For a while, the industry and commerce even encouraged everyone to set up companies at home, and residential buildings can also be used as the company's registration place. Many of these companies have business licenses, so how do property companies manage them? But now that the opinions of all parties are getting louder, there are rumors that various districts will organize joint law enforcement to clean up this type of companies, and these treasure sellers will not be allowed to exist in the community. The basis for law enforcement is very simple. Anyway, there is a fire protection law that can be used at any time. Don't worry, no company or home will be 100% compliant with the requirements of the fire protection law. It will definitely be checked. Therefore, it can be said that Zhang Chen's Sky City E-Commerce Industrial Park appeared at this time. Zhang Chen went to Li Wei's place to see the registration status. All the companies or individuals who came to register had very simple housing requirements. Just like their original e-commerce department, they were basically offices and warehouses. As long as there was electricity, an internet connection is sufficient, but other requirements are not high. The area required ranges from 50 square meters to 500 square meters. Wu Zaiwai called Zhang Chen and said that he wanted to rent 300 square meters on the first floor. Zhang Chen scolded, "This is an e-commerce park, not a logistic space. Why do you want the house here?" Wu Zaiwai said, "Not only do I need it, All express companies will need it, so I have to call you first, Mr. Zhang, and you have to leave me the most convenient place to get in and out. Wu Zhe's wise words reminded Zhang Chen, yes, there are so many companies in this park, and there are so many express delivery to be sent out every day, so of course the express delivery company must be stationed. Zhang Chen took out a piece of lead drawing paper from the cabinet and spread it flat on the conference table. During dinner, Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen said that you just need to take out the drawing and leave the rest to damn it. There are currently 5 construction companies working on the Sky City, just let Lao Tan choose one. Zhang Chen first drew a square on the lead drawing paper in proportion. This is the shape of the entire park. The actual size is 450 meters by 460 meters. This place is now a small earth bag, which is behind a gentle slope of the mountain, needs to be dug out entirely. Zhang Chen drew a rectangle on the left, close to the city in the sky, 75 meters wide and 460 meters long. This will be the area of their future factory. He divided the rectangle into 2. The small area in the back is their dormitory area, and the large rectangle in the front is the factory area. There are doors in the dormitory area that are connected to the factory area, and there are also doors that open to the Sky City. His own factory area, dormitory area and the park here do not have walls, but they are separated by iron fences. From the outside, they look like a hole, but in fact they are divided. Entering the park gate is a fountain and a parking lot for large trucks. With so many companies and express delivery companies here, the daily cargo throughput of the entire park is amazing, and there must be sufficient space. Behind the fountain is the main building of the e-commerce park. A huge building covering an area of 110,000 square meters, with 1 underground floor and 5 floors above ground. The entire building is white. Zhang Chen decided to use white corrugated boards as the exterior walls. From a distance, it looks like a waterfall hanging above the ground. There. The entire building is in the shape of a zigzag, with a heavenly courtyard of about 4,000 square meters in the middle, and a garden inside. Surrounding the garden are 4 canteens with a single area of 4,500 square meters on the first floor, as well as a gym, a cafe. T-Bar is a small commercial street with a small supermarket and several specialty restaurants. On the left side of the building's gate, there are outlets of several express companies and bank branches lined up in a row. On the right side, there are warehouses with daily rent ranging from 20 to 200 square meters. Many companies have arrived. When the goods cannot be placed upstairs, you can rent a warehouse here to store them. The warehouse is built every day and is very flexible to use. The entire building is a frame structure, and the rest of the building is just like the dynamic zone below. The leasing company can choose the required area on both sides of the passage according to its own needs. After the area is selected, they will help it divide it. Behind the park, there is also a long dormitory area, which is only used to build collective dormitories for rent. There are no suites. If you need a suite, you can go to Sky City to buy or rent it. Zhang Chen and their own factory covers an area of 21,000 square meters and has 4 floors. The building materials are the same as the houses in the park. The entire first floor is more than 20,000 square meters. Zhang Chen plans to use it as their sales center. Order taking, warehousing and delivery are all here. The second to 4th floors are the garment factory. The garment factory does not have a warehouse. The finished garments go directly to the first floor. In front of the factory building is the wall of the park, and between the back and the dormitory area is a garden. There is no wall between the two, but they are separated by iron fences. The gate of the factory area opens to the inside of the park, so it looks like it belongs to the park part. Because it is connected to the park, many ancillary facilities of the factory are not needed, such as the employee canteen. The canteen on the first floor of the park is large enough and is open 24 hours a day. Workers can go directly here and swipe their cards to eat. Even small restaurants accept credit cards. The finance department will transfer the meal subsidy directly to everyone's card every month. This will reduce the number of logistics staff in the factory and save a lot of management work. After finishing the painting, Zhang Chen put down the pen, picked up a cigarette and smoked it. He stared at the renderings of the entire park and felt that there was nothing more to add. He opened the door of the office and walked outside. Yard. Zhang Chen heard the voices of Su Qiaxin and Xiaoli, looked up and saw two people standing in the corridor on the second floor chatting. "You two, come down," Zhang Chen said. Su Qiaxin and Xiaoli said oh and ran downstairs and entered Zhang Chen's office. Zhang Chen stood at the conference table and said to them, "Come and see our factory and e-commerce park." When the two people heard this, they were overjoyed and ran over quickly. Xiaoli exclaimed, "This is so beautiful." She pointed to the small building next to her and said, "Boss, this is our factory, right?" Zhang Chen is right. It looks small but is actually very big. The first floor is more than 20,000 square meters. The entire first floor is your sales center, and the second to fourth floors are factories. Qian and Li Wei are going to be so happy. "No, I'm going to call Li Wei," Xiaoli said and walked out, calling Li Wei upstairs. After a while, Li Wei also arrived. Three women stood in front of the conference table, chattering and asking questions. Zhang Chen answered them one by one. After asking about his factory, he asked about the facilities in the park. When it came to the commercial street, Xiaoli said, there is a spa where you can go and relax when you are tired." "Yeah, let's find another handsome guy to give you a massage." Li Wei said. Xiaoli said yes, that would be better. After saying that, the three of them laughed wildly. Su Qiaxin looked at Zhang Chen and said to him, "It's great to have money." Zhang Chen burst into laughter. "Why did you suddenly say such a thing?" "I'm serious," Su Qiaxin said. "Look, if you want a factory, you have such a beautiful factory. If you want an e-commerce park, you have such a big park. I think it's impossible to even build a toilet." Xiaoli glared at her and cursed, "Your house doesn't even have a toilet." "Oh, I meant to make another one," Su Qiaxin said. Build it. You have to build a toilet in the yard outside. See if Mr. Zhang will let you build it," Xiaoli shouted, and Zhang Chen said, "I agree." Su Qiaxin rolled her eyes at the two of them. Xiaoli looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Boss, I'm so happy today, shouldn't I celebrate?" Su Qiaxin quickly said, yes, to celebrate the completion of this e-commerce park. No, it is to celebrate that it has been painted." "Yeah, it can be built as soon as the painting is done," Li Wei said. Yes, for a rich man like the boss, it's not a problem," Su Qiaxin said. Zhang Chen looked at them and asked, "Are you going to kill my pig?" The three of them nodded together. "Then kill him. He's still talking so much nonsense." "Tell me, what do you want to eat?" Zhang Chen said. The three of them were laughing, and Xiaoli said, Wait, boss, let's go upstairs to work for a while. When Qian comes back, can we go together?" Zhang Chen nodded and said yes. "Thank you quadratic VC, 2 fishes 1 up and 2 fish down, for the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you CYTYP, First Home Mortgage, very attentive 333, Zhonghai East Long 888, Laozi, Book Friend 2018121119190673, Longjuan Li, Dong Long Dong, Self-Driving Smile, Frivolity, Man's Perception, Wind and Waves 26, Book Friend 1604200918213996, Monthly Tickets for Broken Dreams in the Void, Illusion in the Wind, Ba Liang and Lao Chen Tang. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1643. The next morning, Zhang Chen came out of home and went directly to Qiaxi Academy with the renderings of the e-commerce park. When he arrived at Tan Shahen's office, Tan Shahen called Lao Tan over. Lao Tan looked at the drawings and said to Zhang Chen, "Although they are all frame structures and the work is easy to do, it adds up to more than 800,000 square meters. It is also a big project. The basement alone of more than 100,000 square meters is enough to dig. In this way, mainly on the factory side, I asked them to hurry up with the construction so that they can move in early. Here in the park, it is expected to be a little later, is that okay?" Zhang Chen said yes, the park is not in a hurry. "Why are you not in a hurry? If you are late, you will be charged a day less. All you waste is money." Tan Shahen scolded Zhang Chen, "Do you have too much money and don't care about it anymore?" Zhang Chen chuckled, and Lao Tan said, "Okay, I understand, I'll tell them to hurry up, but the factory has priority. Either this, if one construction company can't do it, just subcontract it to several companies, anyway. Here, large and small can also be divided into 4 parts." Zhang Chen said, "Yes, thank you, brother." Tan Shahen looked at Zhang Chen and smiled. "Zhang Chen, it seems that your evaluation of yourself is very fair." "What's wrong with me?" Zhang Chen asked. "You say you are a landlord, but look at it, this is still a job done by landlords, and you are a rent collector. Your financial center can be turned into a rent collection house in the future." Tan Shahen played with the renderings with her fingers. Zhang Chen and Lao Tan both laughed. Lao Tan said, "That's fine. There is no pressure. Collecting rent is the easiest. So, landlords can sit in sedans and travel around the mountains and rivers to collect rent, but capitalists have to ride in cars to seize business opportunities. Zhang Chen, I think you will wear a melon skin hat and sit in a sedan from now on." Tan Shahen smiled. "Road. Get out," Zhang Chen cursed. "By the way, I came in earlier and saw Mr. Feng." "How is he now?" Zhang Chen asked. Tan Shahen and Lao Tan looked at each other and laughed. Lao Tan said, "He complained to me yesterday that he was almost turning into a mailbox clerk, and there was nothing else to do except collect newspapers every day. That is also the highest paid mail and receipt clerk in the entire Hangzhou." Tan Shahen said, "If he can't stand it, he can resign. If he resigns, we will all be relieved." "Don't think about it, it's impossible to resign," Lao Tan said, "his life is so comfortable that I want to trade with him. By the way, Zhang Chen, how about letting him take care of your construction site?" Tan Shahen asked, "It's still in Hangzhou anyway." Zhang Chen said, "Okay, I have no objection." Lao Tan quickly said, "You don't have an objection, I still have an objection. In the end, I'm not going to wipe his ass. Forget it, let him continue to collect and read newspapers." Tan Shahen shook her head and sighed, "Well, it's all my fault. I was the one who asked him to be recruited in the first place. I can't keep it off my face." Zhang Chen stood up and was about to go back to the company. His cell phone rang. Zhang Chen looked at it and saw that it was Xiao Fang. Zhang Chen quickly picked up the phone. As soon as the call came through, Xiao Fang's excited voice came from inside. "Brother-in-law, we just got home, guess what we received?" Zhang Chen said he didn't know. "We have received the admission notice from Baibei and the admission notice from Yale," Xiao Fang said. "Really, it's so early, isn't it only April?" Zhang Chen got excited when he heard it and asked quickly. "It's already too late. It started to be distributed at the end of last month." "You thought it was from domestic universities," Xiao Fang said. Zhang Chen chuckled, "By the way, Xiao Fang, hasn't Zhang Xiangbei not graduated from high school yet?" "Yes, high school students in the United States know which school they will go to next before they graduate," Xiao Fang said. Tan Shahen and Lao Tan also heard what Xiao Fang said on the phone. Tan Shahen shouted, "Xiao Fang, has Baibei been admitted to Yale University?" Xiaofang smiled and said, yes, yes, Sister Shahan, come on, Bai, Dad and Aunt Shahan are both here. And me, Xiaofang old Tan called. Oh, hello, brother Tan, Xiaofang shouted. Hello, hello, Xiaofang. Bai, Uncle Tan is also here. Xiaofang said and handed the phone to Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei called Uncle Tan, Aunt Shahan, and his father. The three people here rushed to congratulate Zhang Xiangbei, and everyone was lively for a while. Yao Fen heard the noise next door and ran over immediately. She heard that it was Zhang Xiangbei who had received the admission notice from Yale. She also rushed to the phone in Tan Shahan's hand to congratulate Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile, "Thank you, Aunt." Yao Fen picked up her phone and called Xiaoshu to tell him that Zhang Xiangbei had been admitted to Yale. Really, good boy, then I want to congratulate him, Xiaoshu shouted happily. Okay, you can tell Bai Bei yourself. Yao Fen put her phone close to Zhang Chen's phone. The phone was facing Xiaoshu and Zhang Xiangbei. One called Bai Bei and the other called Uncle. Over there, Zhang Chen had already picked up the phone on Tan Shahan's desk, called home and told the old people at home the good news. Bai Bei, did you tell your sister yourself, or did your aunt tell her? Tan Shahan took Zhang Chen's phone number and asked. Zhang Xiangbei said, I will call my sister later. The phone passed around in the hands of several people, and finally returned to Zhang Chen. Over there, Zhang Xiangbei also returned the phone to Xiaofang. Zhang Chen and Xiaofang said that it has been decided, and our film crew will leave. I'm going to New York in a month, to the Metropolitan Museum, and to the Museum of Modern Art for photography. Okay, brother-in-law, if the time comes, Bai Bei might be able to return to China with you. Grandma and Grandma miss him so much, Xiaofang said. After today, they will think about it with their fingers crossed, Zhang Chen said. Xiaofang giggled. Zhang Chen wanted to ask Xiaofang, when are you going to return to China, but he thought about it but didn't ask. After hanging up Xiaofang's phone, Tan Shahan said, Zhang Chen, Bai Bei has been decided. Is the date for Xiaofang's return to China soon? You should take some time to go to Shanghai and have a look. Lao Wan has already decorated her house. You go and take a look. If there is anything else that needs to be changed, let Lao Wan change it before Xiaofang comes back. Zhang Chen said yes, I will go there tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Whether it's good news or bad news, there is a lot of news, but you just don't know what path they are spreading through, and they will spread so fast. Zhang Chen left Kyoshi Academy and went back to his company. As soon as he turned around the stairs, I saw Su Kioxin lying on the railing on the second floor. When Su Kioxin saw Zhang Chen, she raised her thumb at him and shouted, Boss, boss. Zhang Chen looked up and didn't understand what she meant by this gesture. Zhang Chen asked, what are you doing? This is not for you, but for Zhang Xiangbei, Su Kioxin said. Only then did Zhang Chen understand that the news that Zhang Xiangbei was admitted to Yale University had already reached here before him. Zhang Chen said thank you. Zhao Jingjing heard the noise outside and ran out. She saw Zhang Chen and said, Mr. Zhang, has Bai Bei really been admitted to Yale University? Zhang Chen said yes, he just received the notice. Great, Zhao Jingjing shouted, if Xiao Zhao knew, she would be so happy. Zhang Chen nodded, she will know, I will tell her when I get back in the evening. Great, great, so happy. Zhao Jingjing's eyes were red, she kept nodding and turned back to the financial center. Zhang Chen walked into his office, sat down on the sofa, and let out a long breath. After thinking for a while, he stood up again and prepared to go back. He felt that he couldn't wait until night, and he had to go back now to put his family back together. Tell Xiao Zhao this good news. Before Zhang Chen reached the door, someone knocked on the door. Zhang Chen opened the door and was startled for a moment. He saw two people standing outside the door, one was Ji Ling and the other was Liang Fen. Zhang Chen quickly let the mother and daughter in. Ji Ling asked as she walked, "Master, has Zhang Xiangbei been admitted to Yale?" Zhang Chen said yes, he just received the notice. "Great, Yale University, then isn't he and Xiao Fang an alumnus?" Ji Ling asked. Zhang Chen said he was right, and Xiao Fang also wrote him a letter of recommendation. Liang Fen said, "Congratulations, Mr. Zhang, I just said that this kid Bai Bei has been so smart since he was a child and will definitely have a future." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "I didn't even notice how smart he was." Parents are like this. It's nice to look at other people's children, Liang Fen said, "but if it hurts, you still love your own children." "That's true," Zhang Chen nodded. Zhang Chen asked Liang Fen to sit on the sofa. Ji Ling brought water to her mother and refilled Zhang Chen's cup. Ji Ling and Zhang Chen said, "Master, I'm going back to the design center." Zhang Chen said yes, knowing in his heart that Liang Fen came with Ji Ling today because he had something to say to himself. Zhang Chen asked, "Is your factory closed today?" Liang Fen shook his head and said, "No, I came back from asking for leave from Zhao Zhigang. I was very confused and couldn't hold my breath. I just wanted to talk to Mr. Zhang about the factory." Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment and asked, "What happened in the factory?" "I'm worried that this factory will fail sooner or later. Life is already very difficult now," Liang Fen said. Zhang Chen was taken aback and asked, "How could this happen? Aren't you making orders from Walmart?" "Yes, I am doing orders for Walmart, but in the past 2 months, 30 or 40 containers have been shipped. It does not count that I have not made a penny. Now I am still making losses every day. It is really a crime," Liang Fen scolded angrily. How could this happen? At that time, Walmart's orders were better than ours, so how could we lose money? Zhang Chen asked, wondering. He sighed and said, "It's true that the price on the list is good, but when it's time to ship the goods, alas, the price will come down, and there will be no profit. If the price of fabrics increases again this month, it won't be a daily loss. The more you do, the more you lose, it's like a bottomless pit, and you don't know how much you will lose next. Master Liang Fen, please tell me slowly, how could this happen?" Zhang Chen listened for a long time and was still confused. "By the way, I'll ask Su Kioxin to come down and listen, okay?" Zhang Chen asked. 2 Points nodded and said yes. Zhang Chen walked to the desk and called Su Kioxin. After a while, Su Kioxin came in. Zhang Chen roughly conveyed to Su Kioxin what he had said 2 minutes ago. Zhang Chen said, "I don't know how this happened. Let Liang Fen tell us. You know the foreign trade business and you can help analyze it." "I know it without having to listen," Su Kioxin said. "When the goods are ready and they inspect them before shipping, they will find a lot of problems, right? And the container trucks have already arrived at the factory. Just wait. If the truck cannot be shipped, the delay in delivery will not be counted, and the freight for the container truck will have to be compensated, right?" 2 Points nodded. Then the other party said it was too late. They had to communicate with the customer. They walked away and made a phone call. The result was that the shipment was okay, but 5% of the payment would be deducted, right? "Oh, Chiao Xin, how come you know everything?" Liang Fen exclaimed in surprise, "but it's not 5%, but 8%, and it caused us to test it, and all the bonuses were wasted." 8%? Humph, it's more cruel than I thought, Su Kioxin sneered, and she said to Zhang Chen. "Foreign trade companies, it's just such a little trick. Why don't you ask for today? If you come back that day and tell me that Walmart's price is higher than ours, I will know that today will happen." "You knew it that day? Then why didn't you tell me?" Zhang Chen asked. Su Kioxin looked at Zhang Chen quietly for a while and then said, "I did it on purpose, boss. I didn't tell you on purpose." Thank you Husansi and 0HJKLG for the reward. Thank you to Pai Wuzun, Ashina Feng, Zi Zenjiao, Lu, Cao Cao Yuiang Zazu, Book Friend 2020041621464535, Reader 11963189776326411024, and Book Friend 1604200918213996 for the reward. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1644. Boss, I know you. If I had told you at that time, you would have called to remind them, right? Su Kioxin asked. Zhang Chen was silent. But at that time, if you said this to them, would anyone believe you? They must have thought that you were trying to let them continue to do our work, to scare them and lie to them. Su Kioxin said, that Zhao's Hailong, he is. I didn't even understand it. I learned a few words of English that no one could understand, and then I thought I was something great and could reach heaven. You feel so happy when you are called Mr. Zhao by Mr. Zhao. You are such an idiot. If they don't make fun of you, who will they make fun of you? That bullshit Mr. Zhao will end up with his face swollen. Su Kioxin cursed angrily. Zhang Chen wanted to laugh but couldn't. Zhang Chen asked, when they placed the order, didn't they make an advance payment? Let me tell you, Su Kioxin said, when they place the first batch of orders, there will definitely be an advance payment of 10%. Isn't Zhao's Hailong Mr. Zhao? Mr. Zhao thinks that he is rich and has money in his account. 10% is 10%, isn't he still eager to get rid of us? Even though we give him 20% every time, he doesn't care. When the first batch of orders is about to be completed, the second batch of orders will come out. At this time, they will tell you that when placing orders from Walmart, Walmart never pays in advance. The last advance payment was made by their company. Yes, it won't work this time. However, as long as the goods are shipped, Walmart's checkout will be very timely. They will pay right away. There is no rush. At this time, it is impossible for the factory not to sign this order. If not, what will so many people do next? Moreover, the payment for the goods that are almost completed has not yet been paid. How dare you offend others? Not only Zhao's Hailong, this idiot, saw the second batch of orders. The quantity was several times that of the first batch. He was so happy that he signed the contract immediately. After signing the contract, we just ordered the fabrics and accessories. The fabrics and accessories have arrived, and the first batch of goods in the factory is almost finished. Isn't that what a garment factory is like? Boss, you don't know that all goods are shipped one after another. The goods in the front are still in the back lane. In the sand washing plant, the goods in the back have already been put on the cutting bed and in the parking space. By the time the goods in the front are packed, many of the goods in the back have already started to come out. At this time, the thing I mentioned earlier came. Their QC had obviously seen it and packed the goods into boxes. Their boss came and said, "Is this your first time shipping goods from Walmart? Be careful. Open the carton and check it. You will see a lot of problems and you will not be allowed to install it in the container." At this time, Zhao's Hailong, the idiot, was dumbfounded. The goods were already ready, the fabrics for the second order had come in, and the factory had already started production. But so far, we have only received 100% of the first batch. If 10% of the payment is not shipped, the remaining payment will not be received, and the factory will be finished immediately. The most troublesome thing is that they are actually a factory. They don't even have their own sales channels. If they can't sell the goods, who will they sell them to? Moreover, They only sell clothes in American and European sizes. Even if they have channels, they can't sell them. There is no other way but to accept the price reduction. When will you receive the payment for the first batch of goods? You have to wait until the second batch of goods is almost finished and you sign the contract for the third batch. Then the payment for the first batch of goods will arrive, so that you can have money to buy the third batch. 3 batches of noodles and accessories, that's it. You are just a stupid fish, already firmly caught by their hook. They want you to be round, and they want you to be square. He sighed and said to Zhang Chen, it's exactly what Jiao Xin said. They are very exaggerated. Mr. Zhang, you also know the quality of the products in our factory. When it comes to normal inspection, how can we do it? What's the problem? But if you are picky, I won't pick out a lot of clothes for you. For example, we all know that it is normal for fabrics from fabric factories to have a slight color difference between each piece of fabric. Why do our pieces need to be numbered? Isn't it just to avoid making pieces with color differences the same? Put it on a piece of clothing? No, they said this won't work. It's 2 pieces of clothing that are a little different in color from each other. They are both unacceptable. Just like this, the price will be lowered. Zhao Hailong called the fabric factory, but was scolded. They said, ours fabrics are also being exported. Even if we are exporting fabrics, we cannot ensure that every vat comes out without color difference. There is an allowable value for color difference. The other party scolded me, is this your first time buying fabrics and making clothes? Don't place orders with us in the future. We can't do your request. That's right. It's like this in every factory you go to. As a result, money is being deducted here, and Zhao Zhigang is asked to come forward and say good things to other fabric factories, so why bother? Zhao Hailong had nowhere to vent his anger, so it came out of our quality control department. Our quality control department also became angry. He divided the clothes into several piles and told Zhao Hailong, these clothes have color differences, which one is considered genuine, which pile is considered waste. He himself can't tell. According to the standard, most of the clothes will fail. You deserve it, Su Qiaoxin scolded. After scolding her, she took a look and said quickly, Auntie, I'm not scolding you, I'm scolding that Zhao Hailong. I know you're right, Jiao Xin, he deserves it. If you don't do a good job in the company, you go to find such bosses. It's really a crime, Liang Fen said, I tell you, they are really evil. Sir, even the QC who works in the factory every day is very attractive. Every 3 days, Zhao Hailong wants to treat him to drinks, go to karaoke, pick up women, and when he is unhappy, he will pick and choose. I think Zhao Hailong also likes to go. He can find an excuse to show off his Mr. Zhao style, Su Qiaoxin sneered. It's really a bit like that, Liang Fen said. Now in the factory, Zhao Zhigang is still the general manager in name, but in reality it is Zhao Hailong who has the final say. Lao Fu and I are angry watching from the sidelines. You guys say, is there such a thing? Then Zhao Hailong also assigned himself a female secretary and a driver. Ho ho, we said that Mr. Zhang doesn't have such a style. Mr. Zhang didn't see any female secretaries. He didn't drive by himself wherever he went. The big bosses we saw were like Mr. Tan and Mr. Liu. Aren't they all like this? This Zhao Hailong is so powerful that he hired a female secretary. What does that female secretary do? She just helps him get food from the cafeteria every day. Zhang Chen and Su Qiaoxin couldn't help laughing when they heard this. Liang Fen sighed again, we are angry, but seeing this in the factory, we are still anxious. I don't know how many times Kaidi has cried. Mr. Zhang, I have no other intention in coming this time. Please help us. Zhang Chen wanted to say something, but Su Qiaoxin waved his hand and snatched the topic away. Su Qiaoxin said, Auntie, in my opinion, You and Master Fu just don't care about their bad things and just let them go. The worst is, you guys quit. Come back to Hangzhou. Our new factory here is also ready to be built. When you come back, you will be here two things to do. Liang Fen hesitated for a while and said, we ourselves have nothing. If we don't want to do it, we will do it. But there are so many people down there, and we usually take care of them. What will they do when we leave? I just thought that things would get better in the factory. Come together, what are you afraid of? Su Qiaxin shouted. He sat silently for 2 minutes, picked up the cup and took a sip of water. Before the cup was put back on the coffee table, he picked it up and took another sip. Zhang Chen looked at Su Qiaxin. Su Qiaxin understood. It was true that she hoped the factory would get better. She was not only a worker, but also a shareholder. When she got here, she was just a worker and not a shareholder. She was not a shareholder. There was no need for Liang Fen to go to Zhongshan at that time, and he would stay in Gongqingqiao. That factory was not only Zhao Hailong's factory, but also Liang Fen's own factory. Su Qiaxin stood up and walked over to add water to Liang Fen and then to Zhang Chen. There was a temporary silence in the office. Zhang Chen sat there, not knowing what to say or what Liang Fen should say. Yes, let yourself help them. How should you help them? Su Qiaxin came back, sat down, and said to Liang Fen. Auntie, we just want to help, but we can't help now. How can we help? Then put your hot face on Zhao Hailong's cold ass. Do you know that this bastard even called me at that time and asked him to give the sample and he refused to send the sample clothes back to us. Not only did he not accept our order, he also wanted to kill us. Fortunately, we have a good relationship with Target. They trust us so much that they don't even send QC. They entrust us to do the inspection ourselves. Otherwise, when the QC comes to the factory, they won't even be able to see the samples approved by the customer. Yes, how do you check it? Moreover, we have already issued orders, and several factories are now very cooperative. It is impossible for us to say that when we need them, we will beg them. Now you are doing it here, and then take the order from them. Walk. To be honest, as for that bastard Zhao Hailong, we just place the order with you again. I'm still worried about whether this guy will bite us again. When that happens, it will be miserable for us. All the factories have been offended again, and I really don't know what else to do. Auntie, when I tell you this, I think you will understand. If it is your personal matter, I, Su Qiaxin, will definitely help you. However, this matter is too big. Maybe we will lose Target as a customer. Because they have to transfer orders, they have agreed to push back the delivery date once. We can't say that because we have a good relationship. Just accept it. Su Qiaxin said, looked at Zhang Chen, and blocked Zhang Chen with one sentence. Su Qiaxin said to Liang Fen. Auntie, please don't embarrass the boss. I don't think he can make such a decision. If you take a step back and say something ugly, it's just a request. It's the bastard Zhao Hailong who is begging the boss, not you, Aunt. Su Qiaxin's words were very precise and reasonable. She looked at Zhang Chen, who nodded and said. Qiaxin is right, this matter is indeed more difficult to deal with now. After sighing for 2 minutes, she said, I understand. The fault of this matter lies only with Zhao Hailong and Fan Qiaxing. Fan Qiaxing was the most enthusiastic about jumping up and down. Now he is scolded by everyone and he doesn't even dare to fart. Fan Qiaxing? Who is Fan Qiaxing? Zhang Chen asked. That's the working class, Liang Fen said. Zhang Chen nodded. After sitting for a while, he stood up and said goodbye. After 2 minutes left, Zhang Chen looked at Su Qiaxin and said, Su Qiaxin, your level is pretty good. You can talk at length. I can't even say what you said. Su Qiaxin rolled her eyes at him and said, I don't want to suffer and suffer twice. Tell me, in terms of pressure, is it greater now than when Jessica came? In terms of conditions, it will be higher now than then. Bad. But even with such demanding conditions, I accepted the order and still had to arrange it. Why? I believed in Jessica. She just had difficulties and was not broken, so I would help her. This Zhao's Hailong, his conscience has been broken, and he can no longer cooperate at all. No matter whether Zhao's Higang is dead, Kaidi is dead, or they are 2 points, I can't control Zhao's Hailong at all now. I place the order there. I am doing it myself. Looking for death. Okay, Su Kioxin, what you said makes sense, but don't come at me. Didn't I agree to give it to them? Zhang Chen defended. It's hard to say. If I didn't stop you, who knows what you would have said? Su Kioxin said, Boss, do you know what you are? What is it? You are the stupid farmer in The Farmer and the Snake. You are stupider than him. He will only be bitten once by the snake, but you will be bitten by the snake repeatedly. As Su Kioxin said, Zhang Chen laughed dumbly and cursed, Wang Kuang, do you talk to the boss like this? What else? You fire me. Su Kioxin looked at Zhang Chen and said, Boss, let me tell you, if you are soft-hearted again, I will quit without you firing me. Go and ask Xiaoli and Zhao Jingjing. I won't do it even if I can. Thank you. Daos Hung 123, Quadratic VC, Book Friends 20210131080612174, and the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you. Hoo, Crush Killer VIP, Book Friends 20181218043954131, Chair in the World, Frivolous, Tamagotchi, and Nankei Yaiman 79 for your monthly passes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1645. Zhang Chen drove to Shanghai, arrived in Pudong, and drove to the gate of the Century Jingxiu community on Jingxiu Road, where he saw Lao Wan and Xiaomi waiting for him. The 3 people drove into the community and arrived at Xiaofang's house. After entering the door, Xiaomi exclaimed, "So beautiful." Zhang Chen went in and walked around, and he immediately saw that the best materials were used in the decoration of this house, and the workmanship was also very fine and impeccable. Even the joints of the tiles in the bathroom were as thin as a hair of one. Zhang Chen knew that Lao Wan was putting his heart into it. Tan Shahen also told Zhang Chen that Lao Wan was watching over there every day and was more attentive than decorating his own house. Zhang Chen and Lao Wan said, "Thank you, Lao Wan, thank you for your hard work." Lao Wan smiled and said, "Mr. Zhang, you're too polite. It's just a small thing and it's not what I should do. Look at what else needs to be changed. I'll ask them to come over and change it right away." In the house, all the home appliances have been installed, and the cable TV and internet have also been installed. Xiaoshu came to Shanghai half a month ago and personally selected the furniture for her sister, and now it is all set up. Zhang Chen said, "No, it's done well. The rest is the soft decoration. I can decorate it myself." "Lao Wan, you can go and do it?" Lao Wan said, "Okay, let's have dinner together tonight and I'll pick you up." Zhang Chen said yes. Lao Wan handed Zhang Chen a bunch of keys and the community's access card. Zhang Chen, Xiaomi, and Lao Wan went downstairs together. Xiaomi got into Zhang Chen's car. They drove to the downstairs of Jinmao Tower. Zhang Chen and 2 girls from Liu Manufacturing Company were already waiting downstairs. Xiaomi he handed them the access card and keys, told them the address, and asked them to go over first and take care of the details. Then, Zhang Chen and Xiaomi went to IKEA, where they bought kitchenware, tableware, daily necessities, and bedding. There were so many things that Xiaomi called a van to send them there, and she followed the van. Zhang Chen drove alone to the Nan'an Art Center at number 1247 South Suzhou Road, which is next to the Suzhou River. Du Yuzhong originally built a series of grain warehouses. In 2003, several Taiwanese people came here and transformed it into the South Bank Art Center. They held various art activities here and attracted some artists, photographers, and some advertising agencies and creative companies. Settled in. Zhang Chen selected some paintings, photography works, and handicrafts here, and put them in the back seat and trunk of the car. Zhang Chen then went to the M50 Creative Park at number 50 Moganshan Road. This place is very similar to the Gongchen Bridge area in Hangzhou. There are a large number of old factory buildings from the 1930s to the 1990s. Can be said to be a concrete history of Shanghai's industrial architecture. By the end of the 1990s, all the factories here had stopped working and closed due to one reason or another. Since 2000, artist studios, galleries, higher art education institutions and various cultural and creative institutions from all over the world have settled here to transform the original old factory buildings. M50 has gradually become a new place on the banks of the Suzhou River. Fashion landscape, the birthplace of Shanghai's creative industry. In the Gongchen-Kiao area of Hangzhou, what I have always wanted to do is to transform a creative industrial park on the edge of the ancient canal, similar to Shanghai M50. Unfortunately, construction has not started yet. Zhang Chen shows a lot of paintings, photography, decorations, and even creative furniture here. In a photography studio called Shiju, the owner of the studio, Lao Ju, recognized Zhang Chen and knew that he was the buddy who talked about the story of painting and one man's oil painting history on TV, the famous Hangzhou, the owner of Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. Lao Ju was very enthusiastic. Seeing that Zhang Chen bought too many things and couldn't fit them in, he made sure to drive a jeep and help Zhang Chen run around. When we arrived at Century Splendid, Lao Ju helped move everything upstairs, but he refused to leave and insisted on helping Zhang Chen decorate it. At this time, the things bought from IKEA had arrived long ago. Xiaomi and the two girls were already sorting and arranging them. After all the tableware was washed, they were put into the cupboards. The bedding had been laid out on the bed, and the quilts and sheets had been put in. Pillowcases, etc., are rolling around in the washing machine. Zhang Chen took a look and found that except for the empty refrigerator, everything in the kitchen was already there. They were busy until about 7 o'clock in the evening. Lao Wan had come over and was waiting for them. After everyone was busy, they went to have dinner together. Zhang Chen asked Lao Ju to come too, and Lao Ju happily agreed. Lao Ju is a photographer, a native of Shanghai, with a strange surname of Ju. He is actually a few years younger than Zhang Chen, but he calls himself Lao Ju. In Shanghai dialect, Lao Ju means very expensive. Lao Ju said that he was very expensive, and the name of his studio was separated from his last name Ju and became 11 Gu. Xiaomi said. Hesha Yin, I thought it was corpse bones. The bones are not yet cold. Bones sounds like someone who sells coffins and urns. Everyone laughed, and Lao Ju was very proud. Lao Ju told Zhang Chen that he had actually gone to their Riverside Oil Painting Gallery many times, and he also went to see the Andy Warhol Works exhibition. How is it? Zhang Chen asked. Hesha silver is not worth a few copper coins for car gas, Lao Ju said, and Zhang Chen laughed. Lao Ju told Zhang Chen that he had read both his painting theory and one man's history of oil painting and found them to be of high quality. Are you telling me the nice things in person? Zhang Chen asked with a smile. No, it's because the inner compartment really has its own things. That's enough, right? Lao Ju said, and Zhang Chen nodded. After everyone finished dinner, Lao Ju took Zhang Chen and Lao Wan and insisted that they go to his studio again. He said that he had work in the evening and the big scene was worth watching. He had been preparing for several months. What big scene? Zhang Chen asked curiously. You'll know after you go and see it, Lao Ju said. Xiaomi and Zhang Chen said that they had to go to Xiaofang's room. The sheets and other items hanging on the terrace should be dry by now, and they wanted to collect them, so they would not go with them. Zhang Chen said yes. Speaking of the terrace, Lao Wan also remembered it and told Zhang Chen that someone would deliver the plants on the terrace and in the room tomorrow. Zhang Chen said, "Just ask them to call Xiaomi. The keys are all here." Lao Wan said yes. Unable to resist Lao Ju's enthusiasm, Zhang Chen and Lao Wan followed him. When they arrived at Lao Ju's studio, Zhang Chen felt that it was worth coming tonight. Lao Ju took them to the second floor of the studio, a large space of more than 100 square meters, in which was placed a large sand table of 80 to 90 square meters. On the sand table, a model of an ancient battlefield was made, which was densely covered with everything. They are little people. When you walk in, you can see that they are generals and soldiers from both sides, each one made of clay. Lao Ju told Zhang Chen that he specially found 6 clay sculpture artists to work with him on this. Does this scene look like the terracotta warriors and horses? Zhang Chen admired it after seeing it. It's more spectacular than the terracotta warriors and horses, and the skills are also higher. There are thousands of little figures in different shapes and postures, fighting each other, and there are horses, flags and chariots in the middle. Lao Ju and Zhang Chen said that he spent more than a week just placing these little figures. He told Zhang Chen that he wanted to recreate a famous battle in ancient times and capture it with a camera. Today's battle is the Battle of Faishui. Look, this is Fujian, and this is Furong and Zhanghao. This is Liang Chang, from the former Qin dynasty. Here, these are from the Eastern Jin dynasty, and this one is Xiexian. Awesome, right? This is Xieshi, Xieyan, this is Huanchang, and Huanyi. This is that guy. Zhu Su, the key figure, pretended to surrender. At this critical moment, he shouted Qin soldiers in the rear formation of the former Qin. Already defeated disturbed people's hearts, and the former Qin army was defeated. Lao Ju told Zhang Chen that he planned to recreate each war in this way, so that after each war, he could make a thick album. How big of a project will that be? Zhang Chen said. Yes, I can do this for a lifetime. I almost use all the money I earn from opening a studio to become a villain. Isn't it awesome to do this kind of thing for the rest of my life? Lao Ju asked Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen is right. While they were talking, the assistant prepared the lights and set up the camera. Lao Ju and Zhang Chen said, "I won't care about you later. When you want to leave, just go by yourself. It might take an entire night to shoot." Zhang Chen said yes. By the way, Lao Ju, you can go to our art museum and hold a film exhibition. Okay, I'm worried about not having a place to exhibit. It would be great to go to your place, Lao Ju exclaimed excitedly. Zhang Chen said, "Then you take time to come to Hangzhou, and I will introduce you to the director of our art museum. You can discuss the specific time with her." Lao Ju gestured okay with his right hand and shook it forward 3 times. As soon as Lao Ju started working, he was completely in the state, almost turning a blind eye to everything around him. He sometimes used the camera on the tripod to take pictures of distant views, and sometimes used the camera hanging around his neck. The camera almost reached the little man's head. He climbed up, taking close-ups, and then climbed up on the stools and ladders, moving the camera around. I was thinking while taking pictures, looking for a unique perspective. From time to time, Lao Ju directed his assistant to adjust the lights, and also asked his assistant to use dry ice to create the feeling of smoke. Zhang Chen and Lao Wan watched there for more than an hour and left without saying hello to Lao Ju. That night, Zhang Chen stayed at the Kempinski Hotel in Pudong. When he got up the next morning, he went to Xiaofang's room again and found that Xiaomi and the others had laid out the clean quilt covers and sheets. After walking around, I found that there was nothing more that needed to be added. As long as people came in, they could stay immediately. Zhang Chen left. Zhang Chen went to the maid in Liu upstairs in Jinmao Tower and reported to him the current situation of maid in Liu. Xiaomi said, "Mr. Zhang, you need to exhibit one more time. The effect of the last exhibition was great, and many customers tell me, they all want to listen to your lecture again." Zhang Chen said, "Okay, when I come back from the United States, you can arrange the exhibition." Both men laughed as they spoke. A call came in, saying that the flowers and trees had arrived. Xiaomi sent a little girl who had gone to help yesterday to rush over to open the door. Xiaomi and Zhang Chen said, "Don't worry, Mr. Zhang. I will go there often to check on the health conditions and water the flowers and plants water." Zhang Chen said, "Of course I am relieved, why should I worry if I leave it to you?" "It's great that Xiaofang is coming back," Xiaomi said, "although Xiaofang and I have only met a few times, we get along very well." Zhang Chen nodded. He was right. Xiaofang will open her own company when the time comes, and it will definitely be in Jinmao Tower or the World Financial Center nearby. "Xiaomi, please help her when the time comes." "Oh, Mr. Zhang, you still need to explain this," Xiaomi said. "Thank you Daos Hung 123 for the reward. Thank you ZSW, Book Friend 201806250713420028, Man's Insights, Chair in the World, W Yuanlei I is your W monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1646. At 11 o'clock, Zhang Chen was about to leave. Xiaomi said, "Should we have lunch before leaving?" Zhang Chen can't say it. "I went to Songjiang to eat. The food in our logistics space is a little better than the one in Jinmao Tower." Xiaomi said angrily, "Mr. Zhang, you say this every time, and I'm so greedy." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "You can go and try it." Xiaomi nodded. "Yeah, next time I will take everyone in the company to have a look. They are all in the same unit. We have never been to the logistics space." "Go, you can climb Sheshan Mountain by the way," Zhang Chen said. Erhuo is still in Chengdu. Zhang Chen and their logistics base in Songjiang are now Erhuo's former subordinates. The loading and unloading team leader, Lao Ren, is in charge. Erhuo promoted him to the general manager of the Shanghai logistics base. Lao Ren's ability is not bad. The disadvantage is that he doesn't have much education, especially he knows nothing about finance. He can't even learn anything. He says he gets a headache when he sees numbers. In this case, my second-rate wife Xiajun needs help. Zhang Chen's logistics base in Shanghai is the first to be expanded among their series of logistics bases this year. The local government has time requirements and must be put into use in October. The second-hand goods themselves are scheduled to move at the end of September. Their base is being built by the construction team sent by Lao Tan, and Lao Tan often comes here. Xiajun was in the office. When he saw Zhang Chen come in, he quickly stood up and shouted, "Why is the instructor here?" Zhang Chen told her that he would come back to Hangzhou from Shanghai to have a look. "Do you want to go to the new construction site, instructor?" Xiajun asked. "I'll ask Lao Ren to accompany you." Zhang Chen said yes, but I haven't eaten lunch yet. When Xiajun heard this, he quickly walked to the door and shouted deep into the corridor, "Old Ren, old Ren. Mr. Ren." Lao Ren came out and grinned when he saw Zhang Chen. Xiajun said, "The instructor hasn't even eaten lunch. Quickly accompany the instructor to the canteen to eat, and then go to the construction site to have a look." Lao Ren patted his thighs with both hands, ran over with his body between his hands, and said to Zhang Chen, "Instructor, let's go." In the entire logistics base in Shanghai, everyone follows the second guessing, calling Zhang Chen instead of Mr. Zhang, but the instructor. If you say Mr. Zhang, the listeners will be stunned for a moment, which Mr. Zhang? The tenants here, including a lot of Mr. Zhang, talked about the instructor, and everyone knew it immediately. Lao Ren led Zhang Chen to the canteen. It was past 1 o'clock. The canteen had just passed the peak dining period. Only about 1/3 of the people in the restaurant were eating. The chief clerk was squatting at the door of the restaurant, smoking and looking outside. A truck driver was spreading the tarpaulin on the cement floor, neatly packing it and rolling it up. Seeing them, the division chief immediately stood up and shouted, "Is the instructor here?" Before Zhang Chen could speak, Lao Ren said for him, come on, arrange 2 dishes quickly." The Secretary General said okay and was about to turn around when Zhang Chen stopped him and smoked a cigarette and handed it to him. The Secretary General wiped his hands on his clothes habitually, said thank you, took the cigarette and clamped it to his ear. Turned around and walked towards the kitchen. No need to give instructions, he knew what Zhang Chen liked to eat. Lao Ren accompanied Zhang Chen and sat down at a table. Lao Ren asked, "Do you want something to drink, instructor?" Zhang Chen said he didn't want to drink anymore and would go to the construction site to see it later before returning to Hangzhou. Lao Ren said yes, let's drink some Coke. Zhang Chen nodded. Lao Ren walked away. After a while, he went to the canteen and came back with a can of Coke. The waiter was also holding a tray with a bowl of rice and the first dish, tofu rolled in pig's blood. Zhang Chen was overjoyed when he saw it. This is what he likes to eat, and it needs to be cooked in a big pot to make it particularly delicious. There are many dishes like this. Stir-frying in a small pot can never be as delicious as stewing or boiling in a big pot, such as Chinese cabbage, such as roasted pork with fried tofu, and this tofu boiled in pig blood. When Zhang Chen was a child, there was a briquette stove at the entrance of Yongcheng food store, with a large pot on it. In the big pot was the tofu rolled in pig blood, steaming, crimson blood, and yellow ginger slices. Snow-white garlic seeds, aged salt braised tofu, and green garlic sprouts, sizzling from 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning to noon. When it's time to eat lunch, many people will bring bowls to buy, and the price is calculated by the bowl. Big or small bowls are all 20 cents a bowl. Every time Zhang Chen went shopping, he would find the biggest bowl from the cupboard at home. They called it Haiwan. Each bowl contained 1.5 bowls of other bowls. There are also people who sell vegetables and do business on the street, or people who come to the city for fun. They buy 2 steamed buns for 5 cents each at the restaurant next door. They come over and ask for a bowl of pig blood tofu, and they squat on the roadside. He finished his meal happily. Zhang Chen said to the waiter, "Just bring me a big pot dish like this, not a small stir-fry." The waiter smiled and said, "I know, instructor, but it's already being fired." Lao Ren waved his hand to the waiter, meaning that he would come up with anything he said. While Zhang Chen was eating, Lao Ren was sitting across from him smoking. Zhang Chen asked him, "Don't you want to eat some?" Lao Ren quickly waved his hand and said, "Everything you swallowed is still in your throat." After finishing the meal, Zhang Chen wiped his mouth with cutlery paper and said to Lao Ren, it's fun, I just like to eat your big pot dishes." Lao Ren chuckled, "Instructor, you, a big boss, are too careless." Zhang Chen said, "No, eating what you like is the most important thing. What bothers me the most is socializing. I have to pay attention to how I eat when I eat. I can't eat to my heart's content. There is also the Japanese food, which is very nice to look at. When you put it in your mouth, there aren't many things that suit your appetite, so that's the one who suffers." The 2 people stood up and went out while chatting. Without returning to the office, they walked directly to Zhang Chen's car, got in and drove to the construction site. On the construction site, the land has been leveled, and the foundations of the warehouses have been laid, but the houses have not yet been built. Zhang Chen looked into the distance with his hands on his hips. For the first time, he felt that the 800 acres of land were flat. When it was spread out in front of him, it was so big that it could be said that he couldn't even see it at a glance. Thinking about it, in the future, almost 1/10 of the items consumed every day in Shanghai will be transferred from them. It is not surprising that Zhang Chen felt a little proud. He thought that in the future, whether he went to supermarkets or restaurants in Shanghai, the food you buy is probably sent out through here. Zhang Chen feels that for a city, this logistic space is not the lungs as Li Yong said, but the stomach. The large area he saw before his eyes was the stomach of the entire Shanghai. Is there enough time? Zhang Chen asked Lao Ren. Lao Ren said yes, as long as it comes to July and August and there are no rainy days that come for a month at a time. If that happens, it will be a bit troublesome. After all, the work here is basically open-air work. Zhang Chen nodded, yes, even if the warehouse is built, pouring the more than 500,000 square meters of cement floor will take a lot of time. How is the current investment situation? Zhang Chen asked. Most of them have already gone out, Lao Ren said. If we hadn't asked tenants to pay rent in advance, I'm afraid they would have been rented out. But it doesn't matter. It is estimated that when the construction here is completed, there will be almost no empty houses. Now people come to sign everyday contract. Compared with a large-scale logistics space like ours in Shanghai, our place has the most convenient transportation. Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen thought about it now and felt quite relieved. The plan proposed by Huo to require tenants to pay in advance was nothing to him at the time, but now that so much land has been acquired and construction has started together, this is still it really relieved myself a lot of financial pressure. You must know that express delivery companies like Wuzai and others follow them in every project and pay 5 years rent in advance. This is a large amount of money, and this money can be immediately converted into land transfer fees or project funds. The two people walked around for more than half an hour under the bright sun, but they only visited half of the construction site. The other places they didn't go were also similar. Zhang Chen said, let's go back. They drove back to the old logistics space. Zhang Chen went into the office, said hello to Ziajun, stopped staying, and drove back to Hangzhou. While still at the construction site, Tan Shuhan called Zhang Chen and told him that Ding Begu was accompanying the newly appointed female deputy mayor of Yongcheng in charge of culture, education, and health. They had a meeting in Hangzhou and had dinner together in the evening. Zhang Chen, before she could shirk, Tan Shuhan said, "Don't lie. The deputy mayor wants to see you. She said that when you were studying, you were in the next class. You are an old classmate. I have already made a reservation to meet you at your hotel." Zhang Chen was thinking while driving. He remembered all his classmates clearly. Even the faces of the classmates in the school would be remembered by him. Who knows that he is a painter? He has such a memory function. Zhang Chen thought about the female classmates from class 1 and class 3 next to him, but he couldn't think of any face that was worthy of the title of deputy mayor. But it's no wonder, at that time, all of them were. The childishness is still there. The deputy mayor must have such an old-fashioned face. How can he be registered? Zhang Chen shook his head and stopped thinking about it, but he also thought that after joining the Yongcheng Wu opera troupe, he would have to deal with Ding Begu frequently in the future. Whether it was Yongcheng or Hangcheng, when he saw him, he would have to smile. This is really annoying. Although Zhang Chen is no longer as disgusted with Ding Begu as before, and as he gets older, whether he is less sharp or more tactful, his tolerance for people is really much higher. However, when thinking about it like this, Zhang Chen suddenly felt a little contemptuous of himself. Damn it, to put it bluntly, aren't you bending over for profit? If Ding Begu hadn't been in charge of the Wu opera troupe before or after the restructuring, and the Wu opera troupe was now one of his own industries, would Yu Humming need to flatter Ding Begu so much? How sad. When Zhang Chen thought about this, he felt a little narrow-minded and a little contemptuous of himself. As he thought about it, he suddenly laughed. Zhang Chen held the steering wheel with one hand and picked up the phone with the other. He found Lao Yang's number and dialed it. "Hey, Boss Zhang, what are your orders?" Lao Yang shouted. "Invite you to dinner," Zhang Chen said. "Okay, where?" 6:30, Tuxianjiayuan, Box 3. "Okay, I promise to be there on time," Lao Yang said. "By the way, who else is there?" "Me, you, Tan Shahan, and your old friends." "Who?" "Ding Begu and Yang Cheng are now the deputy mayors in charge of culture, education, and health." "Holy shit, they're here, why don't I go hum them over?" Lao Yang shouted. Zhang Chen cut off the phone and laughed. "Yes, I asked you to do it just because I asked you to hum them over. Lao Yang and Ding Begu are their sworn enemies, especially Lao Yang now that he is far away from Yang Cheng and working under Taiwanese boss Lin Shuwen. When it comes to work, neither Ding Begu nor anyone from Yang Cheng can control him. When he comes, he will definitely let out a bad breath. Thank you to Quadratic VC, Dal Tin Soldier, and RIRI Shushu for your rewards. Thank you for not seeing a future, just remember the original intention. Stuck, Book Friend 201911021135467118, Kuwait Travel, Book Friend 201708182135179119, Smelly Socks, Jinwu Lanji, Just Love Zayashu, Frivolous, Fish Eating Brother, Purple Turtle, Book Friend 1601052333323843 monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1647. Zhang Chen returned to his office. As soon as he entered, Xiaoli followed him in. Zhang Chen thought that Xiaoli's visit to him now must be related to the fact that Liang Fen came to see him the day before yesterday. Zhang Chen asked, "Are you also here to raise an army to punish someone?" "What crime are you asking about?" Xiaoli said, and she thought of it. She asked, "Are you talking about Zhang Shan?" Zhang Chen is right. I'm too lazy to take care of it. I have no time and no interest, but Kioxin is right about one thing. If you place an order with them again, I will fall out with you, Xiaoli said. I will go to Sister Xiaozhao to complain. See, how do you explain it to her? Zhang Chen said, "Okay, I'm not that much, 250. It's okay if you don't," Xiaoli nodded. "By the way, what do you want from me?" Zhang Chen asked. "I would like to ask, when will our factory be ready?" Xiaoli said. "Let me go, do you really think that once you draw it, it's ready?" Zhang Chen scolded. "The Design Institute hasn't even produced the drawings yet. Can you tell them to hurry up?" "I'm in a hurry here," Xiaoli said. "What's wrong?" "I don't know why, but now the number of orders on Diabeo.com and Amazon is increasing. Why are people all over the world going online to buy things?" Xiaoli said. "Isn't this strange? The more developed the internet is and the more people are online, the more e-commerce will be developed. I didn't expect that all mobile phones can access the internet now. If everyone can use their mobile phones to access the internet, I think it will probably be possible to use mobile phones to buy goods. There will be more people using things than computers, and by then, e-commerce will explode," Zhang Chen said. "I don't want that time, I can't cope with it now," Xiaoli said. "Kinkin's place is already very busy. The lists on the internet are relatively scattered. We have hundreds of styles, and almost every style has someone. If I place an order, I can't even send it out. I can only make these orders in my own factory. Is Kinkin's place full of people?" "Full. Isn't it said that it is difficult to recruit workers now? Why are they still full?" Zhang Chen was surprised. Xiaoli said, "Isn't Kinkin's factory gone? Many workers knew that Qian was in Hangzhou, and they also came here. The wages in the factory have increased again, which is very attractive to workers. Many people come. But we can't let it go anymore. Zhang Chen nodded and understood. It turns out that there are 3 large workshops in Hangcheng Spoke Factory. They use 2 of them, as well as 1 large and 2 small ones. Lao Tan and his construction company are using them. I am always embarrassed to ask them to spare this for myself. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said to Xiao Li, there is another way. Any solution? Gentian power plant can be used. Yes, haha, am I not an idiot? There is a factory ready. As soon as Zhang Chen said this, Xiao Li started laughing. Zhang Chen said, then you still need a factory director. By the way, Xiao Li, you can't take care of it yourself, otherwise this place will be too busy. Yes, the factory director does, Xiao Li said. I will also give it to Qian Qian. Qian Qian used to be a supervisor in the Beijing factory. She was a pretty good person. When she was in Beijing, Qian Qian had to go out for something. The whole factory she's in charge, send her there and you can take care of it. Zhang Chen said okay, you can make arrangements. Xiao Li walked out. Just as Xiao Li walked out, Zhao Jingjing came in again. Zhang Chen looked at his watch. It was already 5:40. The finance center got off work at 5:30. Zhang Chen asked. Why haven't you gotten off work yet? Waiting for you to come back, Zhao Jingjing said. You are like a fox. If you come back for a while, you won't know where you will go tomorrow. Will you see me again? Zhang Chen said okay, if anything happens, just tell me. Zhao Jingjing sat down opposite Zhang Chen and said to him. We may need to transfer part of the money from our overseas account back. Now Amazon's payment for goods is directly transferred to the overseas account. In addition, part of the payment for goods was originally transferred to the overseas account. Are the company's funds tight now? Zhang Chen asked. It's a bit like taking so much land at once and having so many projects started at the same time. Although we brought in a lot of prepaid rent, it still can't fully cover the 2 major areas, especially the e-commerce park and our own factory. If the project is to be started, funds will be a little tight, and it will definitely not be enough to rely solely on the flow of water from the M-zone, Dabao.com and Tuxianjiayuan, Zhao Jingjing said. How is it in Sanya? Zhang Chen asked. It can only be said to be a slight surplus. After all, the daily expenses of the tropical botanical garden are so huge. In addition, there is still continuous investment there. The expansion of Banmushan Resort Hotel and part of the project funds have not been paid. Sanya can guarantee itself. Others are not capable yet, Zhao Jingjing said. Okay, then let's transfer part of it back, right? I have contacted Xiao Fang. She said that this period is the high point of the US dollar, and it is still cost-effective to transfer back at this time. Zhao Jingjing said to Zhang Chen before Zhang Chen finished speaking, and both of them laughed. By the way, there is one more thing. Xiao Fang said it, but I didn't agree, Zhao Jingjing said. What's the matter? I asked Xiao Fang about the settlement of foreign exchange. She probably guessed it and asked me if I needed funds. She said she still had more than 900 million yuan that she could transfer to us, Zhao Jingjing said. Zhang Chen was shocked and asked, where did she get so much money? She has cashed out all splendid China stocks, and she has also earned money in the past few years, Zhao Jingjing said. Isn't she too good at making money? Zhang Chen smiled and said, yes, she is so good at making money, but it is not surprising, she is someone who can make money even in the casino. I told her that we are not short of money, Zhao Jingjing said. Zhang Chen said yes, she will need her money when she comes back to set up a company, so we can transfer part of it from our overseas account. Zhao Jingjing said yes. Zhao Jingjing walked out. Zhang Chen looked at the time and saw that it was already 6:20. He also packed up his things and stood up, heading to the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel. When I arrived at the hotel, before I walked into the private room door, I heard Lao Yang talking impassionedly inside. Thunder was rolling from the sky, and Zhang Chen couldn't help but smile. Zhang Chen walked in and Lao Yang's voice stopped suddenly. Everyone in the box stood up when they saw him. Zhang Chen saw the woman sitting between Tan Shahen and Ding Begu at the first sight and couldn't help laughing. Got up. Hello, Zhang Chen, the woman said. Zhang Chen also called out, hello, Lefty. Both of them laughed. The female deputy mayor's surname was Sun, and her name was Sun Jin. When she was studying, Zhang Chen was in the second class, and she was the propaganda committee member of the third class next door. She wrote very good articles and her blackboard writing was also very beautiful. In the afternoon when the blackboard newspapers were released after school, she would often come over and ask Zhang Chen to help them draw the mastheads and inscriptions. It could be said that they were very familiar with each other. When she wrote on the blackboard, she used her left hand. Zhang Chen always called her left-handed. Zhang Chen never thought that this round-faced and lively little girl was now the deputy mayor of Yongcheng City. Ding Begu stood up and gave up his seat to Zhang Chen. He said that you old classmates should sit together. Zhang Chen was not humble and sat down next to Sun Jin. He smiled and said to Sun Jin, Tan Shahen called me earlier. I thought about our classmates, but I never expected that you are the female deputy mayor. What, I'm not worthy? Sun Jin asked. Zhang Chen quickly said, no, no. Sun Jin understood, and she said, I understand. Do you think that all of us female civil servants should be Marxist old ladies? Zhang Chen said yes, I never thought that a little left-handed apple could become the deputy mayor. Humph, you look down on people, Zhang Chen, let me tell you, I am still an old customer of your half-acre field Yongcheng store. Sun Jin cursed, and everyone in the box laughed. Zhang Chen quickly raised his hands and said, thank you, thank you. What's the use of just saying thank you? First punish yourself with a drink, Sun Jin said. Zhang Chen said yes, I will punish myself, picked up the wine glass and drank it all in one gulp. Sun Jin said with a smile, this is not bad, now he looks like an old classmate. Zhang Chen asked Lao Yang, before I even entered the box, I heard you thundering, what kind of lofty remarks were you making? Tan Shahen and Ding Begu both laughed, and Tan Shahen said that they were settling accounts. Settling accounts, what accounts are being settled? Zhang Chen asked, puzzled. Forget about Wenzo, Lao Yang pointed at Ding Begu and said, he also said that I abandoned the entire regiment in Pingyang and ran away. I said it was all because of them. He is still not convinced. Come on. Zhang Chen, didn't you say that you had to pay for the travel expenses when we brought the troop back to Yongcheng that night? You asked me for it several times. Every wrong has its owner, and every debt has its owner. Old Ding is here now, so hurry up and ask him for it. Ding Begu shouted, you are the one who abandoned the troop, not me, so why do you ask me for it? If you hadn't forced me into a corner, would I have run away? Lao Yang said. The entire troop didn't even have enough travel expenses. Our first stop was to Kangnan. The first thing I did when I arrived in Kangnan was that you know what I was doing. Well, I'll go find someone to borrow money first, and ask someone to lend me the performance fee first, so that I can pay the driver's freight and let him go, otherwise they will follow me. Tan Shahen said, at that time, Lao Yang was really in trouble. He was the one making things happen inside and outside the entire troop. We didn't care about anything, and even scolded him if we were unhappy. It's still good to scold, Lao Yang said, there are still people who are always uptight and refuse to go on stage, especially Suji and me from your family, Lao Ding. I am a grandson outside. When I come back to my group, I will see, okay. There are also a bunch of grandparents here. Is Zhang Chen the most difficult to serve? Sun Jin asked. He is not difficult to take care of, he is very busy. Lao Yang said, he is more famous than me in Wenzhou. When he goes to a place, he is invited to paint, and others do the work of setting things up and tearing them down. He did it, but he earned it when we were outside and drank wine at night. This man has a lot of spirit, otherwise he wouldn't be so popular in the troupe. Oh, I didn't expect this, Sun Jin said. Why, I was stingy when I was studying, Zhang Chen asked unconvinced. Sun Jin smiled and said, it's not stingy to be stingy. Just remember that time, when I asked you to draw a masthead, you came as soon as I called you. Ding Begu was still worried about what Lao Yang said earlier. He said, Lao Yang, you said you were having a hard time, do you think our Cultural Affairs Bureau was having an easy time? At that time, the butt of a Wu opera troupe had not been wiped clean. You gave up your choice again with the Wu opera troupe and made me become the leader. I stayed there for 2 days. I was besieged by several old ladies and was so scared that I never dared to go there again. Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen both laughed. They had witnessed Ding Begu's predicament as the group leader, and they still couldn't help but laugh when they thought about it. Ding Begu asked Zhang Chen, there is something I must ask clearly. Zhang Chen said, yes, you ask. My group leader's office name turned into a turtle the next day. Was it you who did this? Ding Begu asked. Zhang Chen said with a smile, this is really not me. I want to paint. How could it be so rough? It must be lifelike. Who painted that? Ding Begu asked. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen looked at each other, both of them smiled and said nothing. Ding Begu looked at Tan Shahen and asked in surprise, Zhen, do you know who she is? Tan Shahen pursed her lips and smiled, but refused to tell him who painted that. This matter may always become a mystery to Ding Begu, because that day, when Xiao and the others took the paint and took off the sign, Su Jianmei immediately snatched the pen and took out the word changed to a turtle. When Su Jianmei later married Ding Begu, some people in the troupe still laughed at Su Jianmei. You two are really connected by a tortoise. Su Jianmei, the day you drew the turtle, did you think that one day you would become a turtle woman? Su Jianmei rolled her eyes at the person who said this. Thank you. Quadratic VC, ranked third from top to bottom, 2 fishes one above the bottom, and rewarded at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Zongkai 727, and How, and Reader 11963189776326411024 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1648. After dinner, Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen accompanied Sun Jin and Ding Begu to visit the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. The oil painting gallery had long been closed. There were only 5 of them in the huge oil painting gallery. Zhang Chen personally gave them responsible for explaining. After visiting the exhibition hall on the 3rd floor, Zhang Chen took them to the warehouse to have a look. Sun Jin looked at the many paintings in front of him and said to Zhang Chen, although I don't understand oil painting, I still know some of the names of these people, such as Su Biang, Lu Haisu, Lin Fengmian, Pan Yuliang, Wu Guanzhong, etc. Zhang Chen, you are all treasures here, they are amazing. Ding Begu also said, Zhang Chen, the paintings you have here are worth a lot of money now, aren't they? Zhang Chen smiled, I haven't thought about it, mainly because I like it. Sun Jin smiled, it's still very low-key, but it has been rumored in the society for a long time that your oil painting studio is worth hundreds of billions, and one of the works in it is worth tens of millions. Is this true? Zhang Chen still smiled, not every painting can be sold for tens of millions. Besides, I have never thought about selling the paintings. I keep them here. I just like them and have never thought about how much they are worth. So, it really doesn't mean much to me. As the group said that, they walked out of the oil painting gallery. Sun Jin held Zhang Chen's hand and said to him, Zhang Chen, I don't care how much your place is worth, but you went to Yongchen, and you have nothing to do with Yongchen. We can't ignore it. There has been no movement in the Yongchen cultural system in the past few years. I hope that if you go there, there will be some movement. Can you, old classmates? Zhang Chen said yes, don't worry, we can't guarantee anything else, but the Yongchen Wu opera troupe will definitely bring you news. Mayor's son, please go check it out online. Our Yongchen Wu opera troupe is quite popular online now. Our Wu opera troupe's Weibo has more fans than the Xiaobei Yu opera troupe, Lao Yang shouted from the side. Really? Sun Jin looked at Ding Begu. Ding Begu nodded. Sun Jin said, then I will go online when I get back to the hotel. Lao Yang has contributed a lot to this, Zhang Chen said. The historical articles and interesting anecdotes about Wu opera on Weibo and Baidu Taiba are all written by Lao Yang. Well, Lao Yang, then I want to thank you on behalf of the people of Yongchen, Sun Jin said, holding Lao Yang's hand. Ding Begu said, Lao Yang, I take it back. I take back what I said when we were eating, that you were an irresponsible person. You seem to have a lot of affection for the troupe. Okay, if you come back to Yongchen and encounter any difficulties and need our help, just call us. We are duty-bound. Sun Jin, Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen said, look, when we come here, Zhang Chen and I, whether it's an old classmate, this old man, or a family member of your troupe, we don't support any of you. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen quickly said thank you. Sun Jin and Ding Begu said goodbye and left, and Lao Yang also took their car. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen watched them go away. Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen said, you blew it away. The troupe will take over. If there are no results, I don't care. Zhang Chen said, it's okay, I have Xiang Nan as a hostage, and I'm not afraid that you won't care. Tan Shahen glared at him, and Zhang Chen smiled and said, I heard that even teacher Tan couldn't hold back. He was invited back by Xiangnan to teach young students for free. Tan Shahen smiled, it's good to have something to do, and my temper is getting better now. Isn't it okay? I am assigned to work by my granddaughter every day. Zhang Chen said, this old man will just give him some medicine when he meets the young one. Whatever he is asked to do, he will be happy in his heart. It's your turn soon, Bai Bei. Tan Shahen said. That's right, Lao Zhang thinks I'm all wrong. Looking at Zhang Xiangbei, his eyes are full of love. If Zhang Xiangbei asks Lao Zhang to do something, Lao Zhang will do whatever he wants, Zhang Chen said with a smile. The two walked to the parking lot. Zhang Chen drove Tan Shahen to Tuxianjiayuan Hotel, where her car was still parked. Zhang Chen drove to Yan'an Road and put Tan Shahen down opposite Tuxianjiayuan Hotel. He continued to drive forward and drove to Stadium Road. After thinking about it, he turned right. It was too early to go home and go to bed at this time. He wanted to go to the office and sit there a while. Zhang Chen walked upstairs to the dynamic zone, turned around, and saw someone sitting on the flower bed. The light coming from the corridor on the second floor reflected her figure diagonally on the ground. When the person sitting saw Zhang Chen coming up, he quickly stood up and was about to walk away when Zhang Chen called her, Li Wei. Li Wei could only respond with a hum and stopped. As Zhang Chen approached, Li Wei subconsciously turned her back slightly, looking a little flustered. The moment she turned around, Zhang Chen was startled. He saw tears flashing in Li Wei's eyes. What's wrong with you? Zhang Chen asked. It's nothing, Mr. Zhang. Li Wei lowered her head and shook her head. She hesitated and swayed slightly, as if she couldn't decide whether to go left or right. Finally, she brushed Zhang Chen's body and walked over. She passed through the small door, went toward the basketball stadium in front. Zhang Chen stood there for a while, watching her disappear. Zhang Chen walked into his office and sat down at his desk. After thinking for a while, he picked up the phone on his desk and called Xiaoli. Zhang Chen asked where Xiaoli was. Xiaoli said she was upstairs. Zhang Chen asked her come to her office. Xiaoli said okay, come right away. Xiaoli walked in from outside. Zhang Chen looked at her and asked, are you having a conflict? What's the conflict? Xiaoli was confused by Zhang Chen's question, who is with whom? Li Wei and you, or Su Qiaxin? No, who told you that we had a conflict? Xiaoli asked. Then when I came up, I saw Li Wei sitting alone on the flower bed outside, crying. Zhang Chen said. Li Wei is crying? No, she was fine when we had dinner together earlier. Xiaoli said. Where is she? I think I went to the basketball gym in front. I'll go take a look, Xiaoli said and turned around to go out. After more than half an hour, Xiaoli came back. She looked at Zhang Chen and nodded. You're right, boss, there is something wrong, but it's not a matter in the company, it's a matter at home. What's going on at home? Zhang Chen asked. This damn girl, after I asked for a long time, told me that her father's liver cirrhosis seems to be very serious. It is called end-stage cirrhosis. The doctor said that he only has a few months to live. Xiaoli said, it's really unlucky. Where did you see it? Is there no way to save it? Zhang Chen asked. Xiaoli sighed, her father's liver has always been bad. In fact, he started treatment last year. He went to their provincial capital Hefei and Shanghai for treatment. The family spent almost all their money, but the disease has not improved. And even worse, the doctors in Shanghai and her mother said that the only way is to have a liver transplant. Then let's have a liver transplant, Zhang Chen shouted. Xiaoli looked at him and said, boss, do you know how much a liver transplant costs? Not everyone is as rich as you, and not everyone can afford medical treatment. Just like this, I don't know how much money there is in our village. Who cannot afford to go to the hospital and die of illness at home? There are too many in our rural areas. No, Xiaoli said and stood up. I'm going to go upstairs to discuss with Su Qiaxin, mobilize everyone to raise donations, and then ask Qian and Huihuan to do the same. If I can't let Xiaomi, Erhuo, and Hagen brother, they should also mobilize. There are thousands of people in our company, but I don't believe it. If we can't get the money together, I can't just ignore it. Sit down, you sit down, Zhang Chen said, don't make it so earth-shaking. No, boss, that's Li Wei's father. I know it's Li Wei's father. Please sit down for me, Zhang Chen said. Xiaoli sat down. You don't even need to tell Su Qiaxin about this. Once you tell her, she will dance harder than you, Zhang Chen scolded. Why don't you tell her? Xiaoli asked puzzledly. Think about why Li Wei secretly cried alone down there, and why she was willing to tell you the truth after you asked her for a long time, Zhang Chen asked. Why? Xiaoli asked. You think she wants you to know about her family affairs, and you think fundraising is a good thing. What's wrong with raising donations, showing love, and coming together to save Li Wei's father? Aren't newspapers praising such good people and good deeds? Xiaoli said. Are you stupid? It's true that we raise funds to show love. I believe you can also collect the money to treat Li Wei's father. You are right. There are thousands of people in our company. If we mobilize, we can definitely raise the money. Get up, but have you ever thought about it? When you gave this money to Li Wei, you also put pressure on her. Why? Boss, I'm confused by what you said. Put yourself in someone else's shoes, Zhang Chen said. Suppose, for example, your father is the one who is sick, and then everyone raises funds to cure your father's illness. What will happen next? What will you do next? There are thousands of people in this company, and everyone is your father's lifesaver, including those under you. How will you survive in this company? Zhang Chen's words left Xiaoli stunned. Zhang Chen continued to ask, are you under a lot of pressure? You feel inferior to everyone and can't hold your head up? If your subordinates do something wrong in the future, will you still have the nerve to criticize them? Xylee tilted her head and thought for a while. She sighed, nodded, and said, "Boss, you are right, this is really going to happen." "Boss, what do you think we should do?" Zhang Chen said, "You don't have to worry about this matter." Xylee was stunned for a moment and understood. She giggled, "Boss, are you going to take action?" "That's great. Li Wei's father has been saved." Zhang Chen said, "I'm not telling you to leave it alone." "Okay, I don't care, boss, you take charge, boss, you take action, we can't get involved even if we want to." Zhang Chen smiled and explained, "By the way, don't shout about this matter. Just act like you don't know anything. Understand, when Li Wei really needs your help, she will tell you herself. If she didn't tell you, just pretend that nothing happened, do you understand?" "Okay, I understand, boss, I'll just pretend I don't know anything." Xylee nodded repeatedly. "Thank you for the reward for being third from top to bottom, and having two fishes one above the other at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Zipanjiang 1, for standby time, understanding Tibetan and playing, not seeing a future but remembering the original intention, Hydrogen Oxide Disinfection Knowledge Bureau, hoo. Book friend 201808030256355047, Knowing the Mind and Seeing Nature, Road, Dragon, WXD 121, monthly ticket for Void and Broken Dreams. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1649. At around 9 o'clock in the morning, Zhang Chen drove away from Splendid Home. He did not go to the company, but first went to Zhejiang No. 1 Hospital on Qingchun Road. After coming out of Zhejiang No. 1 Hospital, Zhang Chen returned to the parking lot in the dynamic zone, parked his car, and walked into the market instead of going upstairs. In the lobby on the first floor of the market, there is the business department of the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. After coming out of the bank, Zhang Chen went back to his office and sat down. He picked up the phone on the desk and called the phone on Li Wei's desk. The phone rang twice and was picked up. The person who answered the phone happened to be Li Wei. Not Xylee, who was sitting opposite her. Zhang Chen and Li Wei said, "Come to my place for a while." Li Wei put down the phone and was thoughtful. She did not get up immediately, but looked at Xylee, who was sitting opposite her. Xylee lowered her head and was busy with her own business. In fact, with her perked ears, she had already heard the voice of Zhang Li Chen ask Li Wei to come down, and out of the corner of his eye he saw Li Wei looking at him. Xylee muttered something, pretending to be more engaged. Li Wei wanted to say something, but after thinking about it she didn't say anything. She stood up and walked outside. "Where are you going?" Xylee seemed to have just come back to her senses. Li Wei said, "Mr. Zhang called me." Xylee lowered her head and waved her hands as if nothing had happened. Go, come back and let's go to the front to take inventory together." Li Wei said yes. Li Wei walked out. Xylee turned to look at her back, let out a long breath, and smiled slightly. The door to Zhang Chen's office was open. Li Wei walked in, stood at the door and asked, "Mr. Zhang, are you looking for me?" Zhang Chen pointed to the chair opposite and said, "Yes, help me close the office door, and then you can sit here." Li Wei closed the office door, walked over, and sat down opposite Zhang Chen. Her face was a little pale and her eyes were dazed. She glanced at Zhang Chen and lowered her head. Zhang Chen thought for a while and decided to get straight to the point. He asked, "Li Wei, your father's disease is end-stage cirrhosis, right?" Li Wei knew that Xylee had told Mr. Zhang that she had nothing to hide, so she nodded. "Li Wei, I have consulted a doctor friend, and he said that in a situation like your father's, there is no better solution except liver transplantation. The doctor you went to see should have told you the same thing, right?" Zhang Chen continued to ask. Li Wei still nodded. However, liver transplantation is now a very mature operation. Liver transplantation in our country has also reached the international advanced level. There are more than 20,000 successful cases. For example, Zhejiang No. 1 hospital in Hangzhou has the best liver transplantation technology in the country. In leading hospitals, in a situation like your dad's, after surgery, after 2 or 3 years of post-operative care, you can return to normal work and life. As Zhang Chen spoke, Li Wei responded softly, I know. Of course, the cost of liver transplantation is expensive, and it is still difficult for ordinary families to afford it. Li Wei, I think it will be the same for your family, right? Li Wei lowered his head and said nothing. Zhang Chen said slowly, Li Wei, you have to know that it is not a shame to have financial difficulties at home. Everyone has lived through hard times, and I am the same. Li Wei hesitated for a while, nodded and said yes. My mother wanted to sell the house to my father for medical treatment, but my father refused. My brother called me and said that the two of them had a quarrel because of it. In fact, actually what, Li Wei? Zhang Chen asked. Actually, in our small town, the house is not very valuable. Even if it is sold, it can only be sold for 80 or 90,000 yuan at most, but it is still not enough. All of this is my fault. Li Wei's eyes turned red. How can I blame you for your father's illness? Zhang Chen said. It's my fault that I used to spend a lot of money and didn't save a lot of money. But now, when I really need money, I have no choice, Li Wei said. It's not that there is no way, but you are embarrassed to say it, Zhang Chen said. I know that you are a girl with strong self-esteem, but at this time, you have to remember that you are a person with an employer, and you are not capable enough. You can ask your work unit for help. Li Wei's voice became softer and weaker, so soft that she could hardly hear it. She said, this is my own family matter. How can I have the nerve to tell my work or my boss, but the boss doesn't? Nothing, Zhang Chen asked, are you saying that the boss has no obligation to help you? You are wrong. Every boss has the obligation and must care for his employees. Li Wei kept shaking her head. She said no, that's not the case, these are two different things. What's not like this is that compared to saving your father's life, nothing else counts, Zhang Chen said. Many times, Li Wei, when you can't survive, you have to learn to ask others for help. You have to understand who there will always be difficult times, and many friends and colleagues around you will be willing to help you. As Zhang Chen spoke, he took out an ICBC bank card from the drawer, pushed it in front of Li Wei, and said to her, Li Wei, there are 500,000 in this card, and the password is 6 zeros. I want you to accept it and use it to treat your father's illness. Li Wei trembled and said quickly, no, Mr. Zhang, this won't work. I can't take this money. What can't you ask for? You don't want this money, but I asked you to accept it, Li Wei. Zhang Chen looked at Li Wei and sighed, Li Wei, you also know that I have lost a loved one. You may not have experienced it yet, but I have experienced the pain of losing a loved one. Li Wei, you believe me, what if, and I mean what if you lose your dad, then you will feel regretful. Really, as long as you think that you have a slight possibility, you can save his life, but if you don't do it, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Everything else will not be worth mentioning in your eyes at that time. Even if you are not at fault, you will keep blaming yourself if you do this or that. I feel that as long as there is an if, not if, I can save the lives of my loved ones, that would be great. Just like you will blame yourself for your previous lavishness. Li Wei sat with tears streaming from her eyes. She sat blankly, twisting the fingers of her hands together and not moving. Zhang Chen urged her to take the card, but she turned a deaf ear and always said didn't move. Zhang Chen said to her, Li Wei, I know about your father's illness, and Xylee also knows about it. We can't remain indifferent. If you refuse to accept this card, there is another way. You know Xylee, did Li say anything to me yesterday? Li Wei shook his head, I don't know. Xiao Li said that she wants to mobilize Su Qiaxin, Ji Yiling, Qian Qian, Hagenj, Xiaomi, Erhuo, Huihuan, and Cao Minfang to mobilize everyone below to donate to you. I believe they can donate this amount. Yes, with so many people in our company, 100 yuan per person is enough to treat your father. Li Wei, do you want to accept everyone's donation, or accept this card? Choose one of the two, you have no possibility of refusing. Li Wei whimpered. Zhang Chen said, I made my own decision yesterday. I stopped Xylee from telling others about you. I think you'd better accept this card. Also, Li Wei, don't feel pressured. I didn't tell anyone about today's matter, not even Xylee, we just did it quietly, okay. Li Wei nodded and shook her head and nodded again, she said. Mr. Zhang, thank you, but you don't need to have so much money. We can sell the house, and I can also sell my car. Plus I still have a little money, and I may just have 10,000 is enough. Can I borrow this money from the company? In the future, I will deduct 81,000 yuan a month and I can pay it back within a year. Zhang Chen shook his head and said, I already understand clearly. The cost of the operation is about 250,000 yuan. In the first year after the operation, the cost of anti-rejection medication is 70,000 to 80,000 yuan. If you still need to take anti-hepatitis B drugs, the medical expenses for the first year after the surgery will probably be around 100,000 yuan. In the second year, due to the reduction in medication, it will still cost 50,000 to 60,000 yuan to maintain. In the third year, after the medication is further reduced, the cost will come down. Finally, it may cost 10,000 to 30,000 yuan per year to maintain. Furthermore, after your father's surgery, he will not be able to work normally during the 3-year recovery period, and his income will be reduced a lot. Your salary needs to supplement the family income, and you also need to supplement your father's nutrition. This money will not be much, Li Wei, please accept this card quickly, or I will ask Xylee and Su Qiaxin to come down and leave your difficulties to them to solve. Are you afraid? No matter how worried Li Wei was, she still burst into tears and smiled. She nodded and said she was afraid. If you're afraid, just take the card quickly, Zhang Chen said. Li Wei took the card in her hand, stood up, bowed to Zhang Chen and said, Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Zhang Chen picked up a business card on the table, handed it to Li Wei, and told her, This is the vice president of Zhejiang No. 1 Hospital. My friend, he knows about you. If your father is going to come to Hangzhou for surgery, just go to him and he will arrange it for you. Li Wei nodded. Zhang Chen said considerately, Then I will pretend that I don't know about this from now on, okay? Of course, if you feel that you still need our help, or you need people in the unit to know that your father is in Hangzhou, if it is convenient for him to take leave to take care of him when he is hospitalized, I think Su Qiaxin and Xylee will come and talk to me. This matter is entirely yours to decide. Li Wei said yes, thank you Mr. Zhang. It's nothing. I wish your father a speedy recovery. You can go ahead, Zhang Chen said. Li Wei stood there, blushing, and asked Zhang Chen, Mr. Zhang, can I use your bathroom? Zhang Chen knew that she was going to wash her face. Zhang Chen smiled and said, Of course you can, but if you want to touch up your makeup, I don't have any cosmetics here. Li Wei also laughed. Li Wei came out of the bathroom, walked to the office door, turned around, bowed to Zhang Chen again, thanked Mr. Zhang, and then turned around and went out. Zhang Chen picked up the phone on the table, called his friend at Zhejiang No. 1 Hospital, and told him. Brother, this little girl in my company should come to you today or tomorrow. You can help me make arrangements. You can help her control the expenses. Be merciful and don't kill pigs. Remember to tell me about the surgery situation then. Mr. Zhang, who are you so worried about? Your confidant asked on the phone. Get lost, Zhang Chen cursed, and he smiled on the other end of the phone. Thank you Piaoling Yu, 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, quadratic VC, 0HJKLG for the reward. Thank you for your monthly votes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, Piaoling Yi Mayfly, the home cat with a mind for the world, Taizong Shang 1, Formello Blue, Winson Liu, Tianying 1978, Hurricane 0669, and Book Friends 202011091113511923. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1650. Xiang Nan took Yin Tao to Zhang Chen's office. Yin Tao was one of the new students recruited by Fenglogui Art School. Xiang Nan, have you been to your mother's place? Zhang Chen asked Xiang Nan, and Xiang Nan said no, we'll go back when we get back. They drove over from Yongcheng today and were going to Shanghai. Wen Wen found 2 young screenwriters in Shanghai. Xiangnan also communicated with them online for a long time and felt that they had each other's strengths and weaknesses. She went there today just to talk to them. They communicated face to face to determine the final author of Shakespeare and Tang Xianzu. According to Xiang Nan's idea, it would be best if the 2 of them could cooperate, which would require her to mediate in the middle. Xiang Nan told Zhang Chen that there was another person who graduated from the composition department of the Shanghai Conservatory of Music and was from Ningbo. He found out about us on the internet and ran to Yongcheng himself, saying that he could help on a voluntary basis. Now he has been staying in the troupe. When studying the tunes of Wu opera, we want to incorporate some Western musical elements when arranging new operas. I also told my father that if he has this ability, we will recruit him into the theater troupe as an arranger. Even those old plays can be renovated by our troupe. The first person to write these plays has never seen Western movies. We cannot reject musical instruments and Western music now. Zhang Chen is right. We can learn from each other. For example, the most exciting part of the violin concerto Liang Shanbo and Zhu Yingtai is based on the Yu opera tune. Without the Yu opera Liang Shanbo and Zhu Yingtai, there would not be what it is today. Violin concerto, this is why Yulina's version is the best performance. She knows Yu opera and she is from Yin County, Zhejiang Province. Xiang Nan nodded. Zhang Chen remembered and asked, you drove here from Yongcheng, who drove it? Me Xiang Nan said. Then you want to drive to Shanghai? Zhang Chen asked. That's right. Xiang Nan looked at Zhang Chen and laughed. Uncle, are you worried that I am a novice? Don't worry, I am already an experienced driver. In Yongcheng, I will be responsible for anything that happens in the group. The car is running, but we can't afford a full-time driver. Uncle, do you want to take a ride in my car? Zhang Chen said okay. He looked at his watch and saw that it was already lunchtime. Zhang Chen said, how about we drive to Tuxianjiayuan in Xiaosha for lunch, and then you go to Shanghai? Xiang Nan chuckled, I came to see you just because I wanted to eat in Tuxianjiayuan. Zhang Chen also laughed, then you don't have to look for me. You can go there directly and call me. By the way, when you go to Shanghai, don't you want to talk about something? You can go to the club to talk. Xiaomi knows you, so you can talk to her. That is, I will give you her phone number. Even in Shanghai, if you have anything else, you can call Xiaomi for help. Xiang Nan said yes, thank you uncle. Xiang Nan picked up his mobile phone and wrote down Xiaomi's phone number. The three of them went out and met Xiaoli, who was coming down from upstairs. When they saw Xiangnan, Xiaoli was yelling. The two of them hugged each other. Zhang Chen and Xiaoli said, "How about you go to dinner with us?" Xiaoli waved her hand and said, "No, no, I'm almost too busy here." Xiao Li approached Zhang Chen and whispered to him, "Li Wei is not here today. She went to the train station to pick up her parents, and she has to go to the hospital in the afternoon." Zhang Chen nodded and understood. Driving to the south, the three of them arrived at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel in Xiasha, parked the car in the parking lot, and asked Zhang Chen, "Uncle, how do you think my car is driving?" Zhang Chen said, "Yes, the direction is very stable, but you still have to be careful when driving on the highway. Sometimes, no matter how good you are at driving, it is useless. You will encounter too many random people on the road." Xiang Nan said, "I understand, uncle." The three of them had dinner at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel. Zhang Chen asked Xiangnan how he was doing now and whether he was still used to returning to Yongcheng. "It's pretty good," Xiang Nan said, "everyone in the troupe is very motivated now. Although the conditions are a little more difficult, everyone knows that this is temporary. Sometimes when they are too tired, they just run to see what we are building. There is a new building and a new dormitory in the school, so I don't feel tired anymore." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "That's right, looking at the plum blossoms will quench your thirst." Yin Tao said, "In comparison, even now, the conditions of our troupe are pretty good. Some of our classmates also joined the troupe. In the first month after joining, their wages began to be owed. There are also classmates who quit after 2 months of joining. Come on, we are looking for another job now. Our other classmates are very envious of us because we can continue to perform on stage, and everyone can see the future of our group." Zhang Chen agreed, "When our own theater is built, you can invite high-level groups at home and abroad to perform. You don't need to consider the economic benefits, and you can even pay for the invitations. In this way, I think it won't take long for us to be forever. The city will become a place where elites from domestic and foreign art groups gather. Only in this way can the audience be attracted back to the theater. It is definitely not possible for us to rely on Wu Opera alone. Uncle, I have made an appointment with teacher Bai Xianyang and teacher Lin Huimin. When our theater is completed, they will bring a group to Yongcheng, and Xiaohu and his foundation will arrange the expenses," Xiangnan said. "Does Xiaohu go to Yongcheng often?" Zhang Chen asked. "Currently, Xiaohu is responsible for Fuban Financial Holdings business in mainland China. Xiaohu will be in mainland China for most of the year. He has bought a house in Qianzhong New Town and moved there. He is also in an office building next to the Civic Center. Here, he bought an office building, had his own team, and established a fund company." Zhang Chen didn't know much about his whereabouts now. Yin Tao laughed, and Xiang Nan's face blushed slightly. Zhang Chen knew what he said, so he asked a bit abruptly. Yin Tao said, "I go there often. He is already a non-staff member of our troupe." 1. Yin Tao said, looking at Xiang Nan. Xiang Nan pouted and lowered his head. Yin Tao said, "A tail that can't be shaken off," he said. "It is a licking dog." Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing and asked, "What do you mean?" "Who knows him?" Xiang Nan said angrily. He said it was their Taiwanese internet slang, that is. Xiang Nan kicked Yin Tao under the table, and Yin Tao quickly smiled and shut up. After eating, Xiangnan sent Zhang Chen downstairs to the dynamic zone and turned around to go to Shanghai. Zhang Chen walked upstairs and was stunned when he turned around the stairs. He saw two brothers, Zhao's Hegang and Zhao's Hailong, sitting on the flower bed in the yard. The doors of the offices upstairs and downstairs were open, and people were coming in and out, but there was no one. Pay attention to them, as if the two of them are blind people taking a rest here. Zhao's Hegang and Zhao's Hailong saw Zhang Chen and stood up quickly. Zhao's Hegang blushed and called boss. Zhao Hailong hid half of his body behind Zhao Zhigang and also called boss. Zhang Chen nodded and said, Zhao Zhigang, it's so rare. Come on, go to the office. Zhang Chen saw that when he was talking to Zhao Zhigang and the others, many people's faces appeared behind many office windows. Su Qiaxin and Xiaoli appeared in the corridor upstairs. Zhang Chen looked at them, and they quickly slipped away. Zhao Zhigang and Zhao Hailong followed Zhang Chen into the office. To relieve the embarrassment, Zhao Zhigang said, Boss, nothing has changed here at all. Zhang Chen smiled and said, the office, what else can it be changed into? Zhao Zhigang said, it's still like that, there's no secretary or anything. Zhang Chen said, not only do I have no secretary, I don't even have a driver. Xiao Wu went to be the general manager of a logistics company. Now I drive myself when I go out. This is good. As you know, I am not used to being waited on. When Zhang Chen said this, he saw Zhao Hailong's face flushed. Zhang Chen thought about what he said about Zhao Hailong being both a female secretary and a driver. Zhang Chen secretly smiled. This was really the speaker. No intention, the listener has intention. However, Zhao Hailong was brave enough to dare to come to him, or he was forced into desperation. Zhao Zhigang knew that Zhao Hailong was responsible for the trouble. To resolve this conflict, Zhao Hailong had to step forward. Zhao Hailong himself also understood this point. Zhang Chen asked Zhao Zhigang and Zhao Hailong to sit down and brought them water. He also sat down. After sitting down, there was a brief embarrassment. The three of them could not find a suitable opening statement at once. Zhao Zhigang and Zhao Hailong didn't say anything. Zhang Chen also knew what they were here for, and they also knew that Zhang Chen knew. Finally, Zhang Chen asked, are you okay now? Zhao Zhigang couldn't say, I can't hold on anymore. I don't know what will happen in 2 months. Zhang Chen asked even though he knew it, but he had nothing to say. How could this happen? Now that the conversation had begun, Zhao Zhigang told Zhang Chen one by one about the current situation in their factory. What he said was the same as what Su Qiaxin said when he came last time. The foreign trade company, really, that's it, this is all you need to do, tricks. The relationship between foreign trade companies and factories will never be equal. As soon as you start making orders, you will be led by them. They have the right to tell you about the goods you have made or not. Don't believe in the contract. There are always loopholes in the contract. Moreover, the foreign trade company is Party A, and the contract is also provided by Party A. If there are traps in it, there will be no traps. It was designed by Party A, who puts the factory at a disadvantage and is eager to take orders from others. There are many things that you can only tolerate after seeing through them. It's hard to wait until the goods are shipped. After the goods are shipped, the money for the goods is still in the hands of others, and you are still being held by others. Although Zhang Chen knew this a long time ago, he still sighed and said, oh, you are too inexperienced. Zhao Zhigang is right. It turns out that we have been dealing with foreign trade companies, but that foreign trade company is our own. Sometimes, we can be awesome, and in turn, they can trick them and say good things to us. How did we know? Foreign trade companies outside are not like this at all. When Zhao Zhigang was talking, Zhao Hailong kept his head lowered and remained silent. Even if he wanted to be arrogant now, he couldn't be arrogant anymore. Zhao Zhigang was right, they just couldn't hold on any longer. Then what are you going to do next? Zhang Chen asked. Zhao Zhigang said, boss, I am really sorry for coming here today. I know we are sorry for you. I hope that the boss, for the sake of so many workers and the boss's old employees, can help us. Zhang Chen waved his hand and said, Zhao Zhigang, you have not sorry for me. If I can help, I will definitely help you. But, I really don't know how to help now. Zhang Chen looked at the two of them and continued, we won't beat around the bush anymore. When we say we are helping, we are just placing orders with you, right? But now, these orders have been placed with other factories. Those factories are very cooperative. I know that if the boss's foreign trade company and factory can cooperate, it will definitely be a treasure, Zhao Zhigang said. This is where the trouble lies now, Zhang Chen said. These factories are very cooperative. Kioxin, Xili, and the others are now friends with them. It makes no sense that people who cooperate well can suddenly take orders again. Let's go, are you right, Zhao Zhigang? Zhao Zhigang nodded. Another unpleasant thing to say is that even if I want to take it away, Kioxin and Xili will not agree. After all, they are doing the specific business, and I have to listen to their opinions, Zhang Chen said. Zhao Zhigang said, I know that we have offended not only the boss, but also them. But if the boss doesn't help us, we will really be doomed. In 2 or 3 months, our factory may not be there anymore. Zhao Zhigang's eyes turned red as he spoke. Zhang Chen sighed and shook his head slightly. Thank you for the different moods of reading, Lao Chen Tang, Quadratic VC, Daos Hung 123, around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. 2 fishes on top and 1 on the bottom, baby tin soldiers, flipping through books every day, and a reward for the third one from top to bottom. Thank you for your monthly votes for reading. The mood is different, Lao Chen Tang, Lao Shenzi Sang, This Way, Yuju, Engross 11, Purple Lai, Qianbo, Dong Long Dong, and Piao Ling Yau. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1651. The office fell into silence again. Zhao Zhigang had already said everything he needed to say, and Zhang Chen had already expressed his attitude. Zhao Zhigang felt that everything he said was very reasonable, and he didn't even have the courage to judge for himself. No. Their factory, and Zhang Chen's foreign trade company, now have the same relationship as other companies and factories. Their orders have been sent out, and they are still cooperating well. Is there any reason to place the order with you again? Especially it's after you ungratefully showed off to others. Zhao Zhigang was right about one thing. Zhang Chen and his company's attitude towards factories. As long as they have cooperated with factories, they will definitely treat them as the best customers they need to win over. Even if the price is lower, they will make orders. Their orders are always priced higher than those from other companies. Credibility is built by oneself, and relationships are built over a long period of time. This is why Zhang Chen and others have such a high degree of trust among Shentu Hanjian and their factories. When they came forward, at that time, Jessica Shentu Hanjian and the others dared to take orders with such stringent conditions. Zhao Zhigang sat there, feeling a little desperate. He looked at Zhao Zhilong. Zhao Zhilong also knew that he had gone too far this time. After he had gone too far, he would be set on fire and burn himself to death. Zhang Chen looked at Zhao Zhigang with some sympathy in his heart. This was the brother he had come all the way and had been working hard with. Zhang Chen gave the factory to Zhao Zhigang. It can be said that he felt at ease, knowing that there would be no problems with him. No matter what happens, as long as he promises himself, he can just let it go and he will definitely do it well. Zhang Chen really wanted to help Zhao Zhigang, but he was not allowed to do so. Even if he was cruel and agreed to help him and move the order to him, it seemed unlikely that he would cause trouble here. Su Kioxin, Xili and Zhao Jingjing. None of them agreed, which made Zhang Chen feel very embarrassed. Zhao Zhilong raised his head, looked at Zhang Chen and said, Mr. Zhang, I know I went too far. I shouldn't have the shame to come here today. However, I can't help the situation in the factory. All the mistakes were made by me. I hope Mr. Zhang can, for the sake of my brother and my sister-in-law, please help us with the factory again, otherwise we will really have no way to survive. I promise Mr. Zhang that I, Zhao Zhilong, will definitely listen to Mr. Zhang and my brother from now on. I will never dare to mess around again. Zhang Chen looked at the two brothers and sighed. He remembered that when they first started their business, the two brothers worked hard day and night to help him. Without them, his factory would still be able to survive. Not coming down. Zhang Chen fell into deep thought, and Zhao Zhigang and Zhao Zhilong stopped talking. Zhang Chen thought for a while, then he raised his head and said, Zhao Zhilong, do you know that when your factory was about to move, I divided the shares based on the fact that the three of you are the veterans of this factory. When I say 60%, do I actually mean that your brother, Kaidi, and you each have 20%? Zhao Zhilong said, I know. You proposed 30% each for both families. Your brother and Kaidi were kind enough to agree. At that time, I thought, since they both agreed, I couldn't say anything more, so I could only reluctantly agree. The result was that I was buried. I am also responsible for this. You want me to help now? To be honest, I don't really want to help. It's very difficult to help. I still have a lot of work to do here. But what if I don't help? I really can't bear to see it. You will die like this. Zhang Chen looked at Zhao Zhilong and said to him, Zhao Zhilong, in this case, the decision-making power is in your hands. If you agree to my request, I will help you. No matter how difficult my work here is, I will find a way to do it. Okay. Zhao Zhilong nodded and said, Mr. Zhang, just say it, as long as you are willing to help us. Zhang Chen agreed, the first condition is to return your wife's 10% share to Kaidi. Your wife cannot be a shareholder. Zhao Zhilong thought for a while and said, okay, Mr. Zhang, I promise you. Second, Zhao Zhilong, you can only have 10% of the shares, and the remaining 10% of the shares must be given to your brother. Your brother and Kaidi must account for 50% of the shares in your factory. Of shares. As Zhang Chen said, Zhao Zhilong was shocked. He hesitated. Zhang Chen said, but don't worry. As I said before, you are also the veteran of this factory. I will not let you give your shares to your brother for free. After your shares are transferred, I will give you 500,000 yuan to compensate you. What I said, do you believe? Zhao Zhilong said, I definitely believe what Mr. Zhang said. Okay, do you agree? Zhang Chen asked. Zhao Zhilong thought for a moment and felt that he had no other choice. If he agreed, he could get at least 500,000 yuan. Zhao Zhilong said, Mr. Zhang, I agree. Zhang Chen straightened up and breathed out, okay, I have 4 requests in total. These 2 are the most difficult. Zhao Zhilong, if you agree to them, then more than half of it will be solved. The third one is nothing, but you can remember it. Zhao Zhilong took out a pen and paper from his pocket, and Zhang Chen said, you should amend the company's articles of association and change the original shareholders' meeting resolutions that require the approval of 2/3 of shareholders with voting rights to a simple majority vote. That is, when voting, only a majority of one party is required, not 3/3. Second threshold, this shouldn't be a big problem, right? Zhao Zhilong heard it. Zhang Chen's request for this modification was simply to say that in the future, Zhao Zhigang and Kaidi would only agree to anything in the factory. The two of them owned 50% of the shares. Unless there was some reason, other a total of 50% of the shareholders are opposed, which will lead to a stalemate. Zhao Zhilong thought about it. In the future, he would only have 10% of the shares in the company, and he would not be able to make any waves. Agreeing or disagreeing was actually the same thing. Zhao Zhilong said yes, let's change the articles of association. The last one has nothing to do with you, but you need to do the work, especially Zhao Zhilong. You need to do this work. How many shares does the working class have in the factory? Zhang Chen asked. 6%, Zhao Zhigang said. Ask him to give 2 points, 1 point for 2 points, and 1 point for Lao Fu. These 2 points are free. Tell him clearly that this is his punishment. Zhang Chen clapped his hands and said, "Okay, these are my requirements. If you can do it, I will go to the United States the day after tomorrow and come back in half a month. When I come back, you will take the newly revised Articles of Association and, by the way, go to the Industrial and Commercial Office Bureau. It must have the information stamp of the Industrial and Commercial Bureau. You must show me the official Articles of Association after the shares have been upgraded. If you write it yourself, I will not accept it. When I see your new charter, I will find a way to help you. If you can't do it, then you don't want to come. There's nothing I can do, okay?" Zhao Zhigang looked at Zhao Hailong, and both of them nodded. Zhao Hailong said, "Yes, we will come back to Mr. Zhang after we become better." Zhang Chen said, "Yes, I will give you 500,000 that day, Zhao Hailong." Zhao Hailong nodded. Zhang Chen stood up and said to Zhao Zhigang, "Then we are here today." Zhao Zhigang also stood up and said, "Thank you, boss." Zhang Chen sighed, patted Zhao Zhigang on the shoulder and said, "Nothing, I just hope you are all well." Zhao Zhigang and Zhao Hailong said goodbye and went out. They had only been out for 5 or 6 minutes when the door of Zhang Chen's office was pushed open. Su Qiaxin, Xiaoli, Zhao Jingjing, and Ji Ling barged in. Zhang Chen looked up at them and cursed. "You don't even knock on the door when you come in now." "Don't say this, boss, tell us, did you agree to help them?" Su Qiaxin asked. While the 4 of them were talking, they arrived in front of Zhang Chen's desk and surrounded him. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Su Qiaxin, you are too ruthless and ruthless. Zhao Zhigang is here, and you don't even invite him to sit in the office? Let him sit outside in the open air." Zhao Jingjing snorted, "If Zhao Hailong is here, who will let them into the office?" Su Qiaxin pressed her knuckles on the table and said to Zhang Chen, "Boss, please don't interrupt and answer my previous question." Zhang Chen nodded and said, "Yes, I promised to help them." Su Qiaxin slammed the table and said to Xiaoli, "Haha, did you see it? I said he would be soft-hearted, but you still said he wouldn't or not, how about that?" When Xiaoli heard this, she became anxious and shouted, "Boss, how could you do this? If you do this, I will quit my job. What the hell you do is more uncomfortable than slapping me. I don't care. I don't care whether you place an order or not. Anyway, don't expect me to pay a penny," Zhao Jingjing said. Ji Ling looked at Zhang Chen and said, "Master, although my mother is also there, I still think you can't help me with this." Zhang Chen looked around at them and asked, "What, are you going to rebel?" Su Qiaxin said angrily, "You just want to rebel, so what? You are a fool. Anyone can rebel against a fool. Grandma, you are so angry with me. If Xiaoli doesn't do it, I won't do it either. If you want to place an order, go down by yourself." Zhang Chen burst into laughter and cursed. "You women, you can fall out of love faster than you can read a book. That Zhao Zhigang, why did you offend you and be so stupid? Su Qiaxin, I think you are the one who is confused. You 4 women just rushed in like this. 4 tigresses, what, they want to eat me. Anyway, you agreed to help them, but you are wrong," Xiaoli said. "Then you have to understand the situation clearly first. My promise to help them is conditional. I only agree to help them if they agree to my conditions. If they don't agree, I, like you, will not help," Zhang Chen said. "What conditions?" Zhao Jingjing asked. Zhang Chen told them all the 4 conditions he proposed, except that he wanted to give Zhao Hailong 500,000 yuan. He knew that if he said it, they would definitely arouse their unanimous opposition. The 4 of them breathed a sigh of relief after hearing what Zhang Chen said. Su Qiaxin asked, "Boss, so it's Zhao Zhigang's decision to kill that factory from now on. Zhao Hailong doesn't count, and his ghost wife is going to be kicked out. Zhang Chen said that she was right. She was just an ordinary worker after being kicked out of the shareholders' meeting. If she didn't perform well, I would ask Zhao Zhigang to fire her. Zhao Hailong's objections were useless. Su Qiaxin nodded and said, if this is the case, you can still consider it. Xiaoli said, then if we take out Target's orders, what will happen to these factories now? Target's list is not moving. What I'm thinking about is dividing some of the clothing we sell online, Zhang Chen said. We have just recruited people here at Genshin Power Plant and have divided the work. What are we going to do? Xiaoli asked. Although sales in e-commerce have been growing, there is no saying that it can grow so fast all of a sudden. Our workers can take more rest time and free up their work, Zhang Chen said. Go and raise them, Xiaoli asked. Boss, when are you going to the United States? Su Qiaxin asked coldly. The day after tomorrow. What happened? How long will it take? Half a month. Okay, don't worry and go to the United States. We'll talk about other things when you get back. Su Qiaxin told Zhang Chen that Xiaoli wanted to say something else, but Su Qiaxin patted her. Thank you to Quadratic VC for the reward, which I don't even know anyone asked. Thank you for the monthly pass on the road, no future, just remember the original intention, and the line of work. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.